All right. Episode 4 of the podcast series. I'm here with Santoro, fellow gym bro, athlete, also a podcaster.
Yep.
It's great to have you on.
I'm so excited.
Woo!
I've been waiting this the entire day.
Man, it's what I like to hear. I have to say, when it comes to podcast day, when it's the day to actually do it, I'm hyped.
Yeah.
Absolutely hyped. So it's great to have you on here. Let's just get a little background. I think to start with that, right? Let's always start. When I get people on, I always like to start from the root.
Yeah.
And then build up. So you're from Massapequa, right? You were born and raised.
Yep. Haven't moved.
Wow.
Well, technically, I was born in Westchester, New York. So upstate New York, and then moved down. But
see what I mean? You learn something every day. You just sometimes, guys, you never know something until you ask. I just assumed he was from Massapequa all his life, but you just don't know. So you were born in Westchester.
Yeah.
And then what age did you move to Massapequa?
First year. I mean,
First year.
It was real quick.
So I guess Baby Vin didn't really get to experience Westchester very long, huh?
Nope, not at all.
Why did your parents decide to move? Was there a particular reason, or?
Well, not exactly. I just kind of Baby Vin just found a way in Massapequa, to be totally honest with you.
Really? So it just happened. Your parents were looking for a house, and that's just how the cards lie, huh?
Well, I'll say this, to really break this down.
Yeah.
And I've actually technically never told anybody this, but I'm actually adopted.
Really?
I'm so serious. So actually, Baby Vin Westchester Hospital, they got me there and they brought me down. I haven't actually really exposed that, but I know it looks so real with mom and dad and me. But
yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's just one of those. I mean,
no, are you being for real?
I'm being so serious. I don't lie to people.
Dude, that's insane, dude. Bro, this is the first 5 minutes of the podcast.
Yeah.
It's just so funny because here it is that I've never. I just said to them, like, you don't know until you ask. And then you hit me with that.
Well, yeah, because I mean, when you're saying buying a house, and I'm like, I think I kind of just got to tell them that.
Wow, this is wow. I had, just for the record, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Right. So Baby Vin was born.
Yep.
And your parents they adopted you.
Yes.
Now I know you have other siblings.
I have 2 other siblings.
Or are they adopted?
Yeah. Well, one of them isn't. One of them isn't.
Interesting.
So the oldest one isn't adopted.
Yeah.
Second oldest. I'm the youngest. So young Vin, youngest in the family. But
I was gonna say you're the youngest in the family, right? Is because you have 2 sisters, right? Mm-hmm. Is the oldest one, is she the biological,
mm-hmm.
and then the middle one is also adopted. Now, are you 2 biological siblings?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. What is the reason why your parents wanted to adopt you?
To be totally honest, I don't really know. So
really?
I don't really actually.
Very interesting. But, wow. Did you ever want to ask them and see like?
I never asked them. I just kind of accept them adopted, to be totally honest. But maybe later tonight I might ask them. But
listen,
but
those are
Yeah, I don't really. To be totally honest, I don't think many people even know this. I'm only asking.
Dude,
I'm only telling you for the first time, and I bet all your viewers don't even know it either. They probably just think I'm just, But I don't think it's something to make fun of people for.
Absolutely,
it kind of just happens,
Listen, man, it's.
I mean, even this. All you Yankee fans out there, Aaron Judge is adopted, so.
Is he?
Yes.
Wow. I think it's a lot more common than people would expect.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know what happens, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, listen, that's how people have families,
Yeah.
Like you, I mean, if you weren't adopted, I wouldn't know you right now, would I?
Nope, nah.
So, God bless, man.
Yep.
God bless.
Yeah.
Wow. Another question, when did you find out?
Like, what do you mean?
Because you were 1 year old, right? So technically, your parents had to have told you, right? One day they must have decided to tell you that you're adopted. So when was that day?
It's kind of like I don't even remember, to be totally honest.
So you just all your life you knew?
Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
But
So maybe they told you when you were like very young, maybe like 5 or 6. They just said it to you one day, and you probably didn't know what it meant. You're like, oh, okay. And then maybe when you got a little older, you're like, wow,
Yeah, pretty much.
This. Wow.
It's something I don't really talk about, but
I was gonna say, because I've never, I don't think one time you've ever mentioned it or nothing.
I don't mention it to anyone really. I just live on, right?
Yeah.
I don't really say like, hey, did you know I was adopted?
Yeah.
Oh, stop playing with me, Ben. You're not adopted. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because people do make jokes about it, but it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah.
But
because I'm trying to think now, right? I'm trying to think about like what you're. I never even thought about it, right? Because like I met your dad once. I met your mom numerous times.
Yeah, that's why people are shocked that I'm telling you this right now and your viewers, because I look very like my mom and dad.
Are they both Italian?
Mainly my mom. I don't think my dad is much
Really?
Italian. He's mostly Irish and some other stuff, but.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Man, it's a topic that I don't really just talk about.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really hit me for a curveball there, huh?
First.
Oh, you baseball people out there, right?
Well, that too. Yeah. Some of the best athletes are adopted.
Yeah.
Right?
Also Simone Biles.
Yeah.
She was adopted.
Yeah.
So.
Nobody really talks about it.
You know what got me is that you look very Italian, and your last name is Santoro.
Yeah.
Right, which is Italian.
Very much so.
Is your dad's last name Santoro as well?
Yeah.
So he is Italian.
Yeah.
See, that's what I mean. Like it just all makes sense. I guess so I never would have questioned it. But listen, I appreciate you for sharing stuff for the for me and the viewers. So I mean, that's it's a way to start the podcast.
That's probably the first comment someone's gonna tell me. And I didn't know this guy was adopted.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So you were born in Westchester, moved to Massapequa, right? Obviously, I'm sure you don't have a vivid memory of that, but I know one thing I'll say about Vinin is he's always been an athlete, right?
Yes.
You started with sports relatively young, I'm assuming
Very
4 or 5 years old, right?
Very young.
I remember you telling me you started ice skating at 4 or 5, right?
3 years old.
3 years old, that's crazy.
I could definitely find a picture of me.
Yeah?
I could probably send it to you.
Okay. Maybe I'll get that on the camera. Boop, right there.
Yeah. He's so tiny.
Yeah.
This guy is so tiny.
They must have had the skates must have been so small.
Oh my gosh, they're like this big.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, how do they even make skates like that? But
Nuts, right?
it's a crazy sport too to start at 3 years old.
Yeah, wow.
Usually you think t-ball, soccer.
Yeah.
Oh,
hockey. Bro, I can barely ice skate.
Ice skating, I think, is the hardest thing. I really do believe ice hockey is the hardest sport to play. And I know I get a lot of controversy with baseball and how you have to hit 95-mile-an-hour fastballs and stuff like that. You look at it from a hockey standpoint. You're not on your feet. You're on sharp blades. And you have a stick in your hand. Nothing's used with your hand. So
yeah.
I think that's, and plus you got to score on a goalie who takes up most of the net.
This is what I would say. I don't know if I would say hockey's the hardest sport, but I would say it's the most difficult to learn or the most difficult to start. Because I'll give you an example, right? Take track.
Yeah.
No offense to all the track people, but anybody, it's very hard to be, let's just say take a sprint. It's hard to be very fast, but anybody could do it, right? Anybody can get on a line and just run there, or most people. But hockey, right? If you can't skate, you're pretty much screwed. You can't really do much. What are you going to hold on to the wall? There's nothing. You have to, at the very least, be a decent skater in order to just play the sport. Not even be good at it. Just play it. Yeah. So I completely get that. Even me, right? If you put me in a hockey game, it's not going to go very well because I can barely hold myself, let alone get a puck into a goal. Yeah. Right? So
don't forget you got to stop too. Most people stopping is actually just skating and hugging onto the boards.
True. Well, there's so much to it. Not just stopping, but how about just staying on there for whatever, I don't know how long they are, 10, 20 minutes, whatever, for periods of time, right? It's not just you go in there for a couple minutes and then you get off. No, it's like you have to be able to. And also, it's very fast paced, right? Hockey. I mean, go back and forth and back and forth. But there's definitely a lot to it, right?
And I think another thing is, yeah, NHL games are 20 minutes long, but those guys aren't taking 1-2 minute shifts. They're taking 30 to 40, 45 is sometimes even a long shift. And you get tired. You'd think, you're on skates and you can glide and everything, but it's tough.
Absolutely.
It's such a fast-paced sport. You stay on it for too long, a puck in the back of your net, and you're down 1-0.
Yeah, like that, right? Just like that.
I mean, I know I've stayed on for shifts at 1 to 2 minutes, and then coach is like, "Vin, stay next to me. You're not going anywhere because I took too long of a shift." Really? Coaches get on you for that because, especially if you can't get the puck out of your zone. I mean, in this day, you're cooked. That's what people say these days, right? You're cooked.
Yeah, true, absolutely. I've never played hockey, right? So I can't really speak from experience, but I guess from a competitive level, how is it, if you had to say? Is it a very competitive sport, would you say?
1,000%. You could definitely see the difference between a junior varsity game to a varsity game.
Really?
It's the speed, the physicality. I know when I got hit in JV, it wasn't that bad, but varsity, you can get hit pretty hard. I mean, for me, I know I laid people out. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Because I built myself up, and we'll eventually get into that. But
of course, we're gonna get into that. I think you guys know where this is going. But just to get back to it, so 3 years old, you're playing hockey. Any other sports at that time you were getting introduced to?
I started lacrosse in kindergarten.
Okay, so a little later on.
And I probably played. I'm pretty sure I was revolving between 3 sports, and then I played some football as well. But football didn't last too long because parents didn't want me getting really that hurt. But then again, I question, I played ice hockey, so I mean, what's the difference? But
I think it's very different.
Yeah,
for sure. It's very different. I think with hockey, you don't have to be as big. You don't have to weigh as much because you have momentum on your side.
Yes.
Right? Because of the gliding. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be huge, but if you can produce a lot of force, you can still hit into somebody very hard. While football, you get 2 guys that are right next to each other, and it's just whoever can just produce more power from such a short span. Whoever gets it, right? So
yeah. Plus, you honestly don't want to weigh too much in hockey either.
You do. I notice a lot of the guys when we talk about body frames and builds, a lot of them they're very tall and lanky. I would say that's pretty ideal. Mm-hmm. I mean, you do want some meat on the bone just because you're getting hit so much. You want a little bit of a cushion. You don't want to just be too skinny. Even with the goalies, I was very shocked. When you think of a goalie, you think of a big, not just height-wise, but just I don't know, bulky guys. But they're actually, a lot of them are very lanky and they're very flexible.
Oh my gosh.
Right? I mean, they're doing splits. But now keep in mind, it's hard. It's very difficult to do a split. But try doing it with all your gear on, skates. And it's cold, right? The environment's very cold, so your body's tensed up. That's difficult.
Yeah, and
right.
I'll say this, especially from if you watch Russian goalies and you watch how they warm up and how they are able to stretch. I think they stretch better than any American goalie or Canadian goalie. These guys. I sometimes refer them to robots because they're doing this and they're spreading as far as they could. And if that was me, I'm getting taken off with a stretcher. I'm getting out because my groin is torn. But these guys stay healthy and they could play 50 plus games. And that's considered to be a lot because you're playing a few times a week and you're assuming you're getting starts all the time and they're relying on you and not the backup.
Yeah.
It's a heavy workload, and plus if you make the playoffs too, you're playing a lot of games.
You are. And what I noticed with the playoffs is they keep the same goalie in pretty much the whole time.
There has to be some sort of injury or the guy in net is just playing really bad.
Yeah.
We're talking around 4 or 5 goals a game, but they're nuts. I mean, guys, for any NHL fans, Andrei Vasilevsky, Igor Shesterkin.
I was just going to say all the big names
Yeah.
I feel like they're all Rush. They all have those crazy names.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Khabib and MMA, like those like long
yes.
last names. So
Yeah, absolutely.
but I'm not saying any American goalie or Canadian goalie. There's still a lot of good American and Canadian goalies.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm just saying, like, flexibility and stuff, like, I mean, these guys are unreal. I mean, if you see them warm up and them just, like, stretching without the pads, I feel like they're, like, gymnasts. Like, really, like, how far they stretch. It's crazy.
One thing I will say about Russians is I can even say from wrestling, Russia has always been, like, even my wrestling coach, he was Russian.
Yeah.
And he knew the Russian style. It was very similar to what you're saying, where physically they were just very elite way, you know. They're flipping around. And for me, that was a big detriment. Because I just wasn't like that. Like, I couldn't do splits. I couldn't flip around like some of these guys. But the Russians, especially the Russian guys, they were, like, known for that.
Yep.
You know, and I think body awareness, I think that plays such a huge advantage, not just in gymnastics, but I think any sport. That's why one thing I will say is that if let's just say I have a kid in the future, right? And I want my kid to be elite at sports, I think before even putting him in any of the sports, I would get him in gymnastics. Have him understand his body, you know, gain that flexibility, just being able to move around. I think that is huge for any sport.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're unreal.
They are, absolutely. So these are your early years, right? You're playing lots of different sports. As you get older, right, you stop with football. And really, I mean, lacrosse and hockey are really your two main sports. Now, where does, because another fun fact about Vin is a golfer as well.
Yes.
So when did golfing merge? Was that later on in high school, or?
I want to say I started out when I was 13 years old.
13.
So I was pretty young.
Fair.
I went to some golf camps. Had a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely know from my golf game today to back in the day, it's so much better. I mean, even just from a mental aspect, because golf, I mean, if you do not have a good mental and in here, you're not going to be able to play the game. I mean, when you're sculling wedges, if you guys know what that means, when it's just you get pure ball and none of the grass, where you can't get out of a bunker. I know people hate bunkers. That's me myself, but it's just a game that you really need to just stay calm and just hope for the next shot. And listen, sometimes even the best golfers have their bad days. And that's just how I look at golf from a perspective, really. Yeah. One thing
I'll say about golf is I always thought, and it's funny I even say this because I've never actually played like legit golf. I mean, I've been mini golfing, right? But I've never legitimately golfed. But I always thought it was to me it seemed very simple, right? You do it, like very simple. But one moment that I realized how difficult of a sport it is and how it's so much more of a mental game than physical is when I was talking to Will, shout out to Will Welling, and I was talking to him and I'm like, hey, like how's golfing going? Because he's a big time golfer. And he's like, good, man. Like I had, I went to I went down to the place. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I was there at like 5:30 or something. I'm like, 5:30? Like, why are you doing
Whoa!
Whoa. Dude, what?
Where did my sweatshirt go?
Dude, our clothes are different.
Dude, a different shirt.
Yeah, dude, same with you. What happened to your sweatshirt, man?
I don't know.
Whew. Guys, we're just busting your chop. Woo! The truth is, me and Vin, we ended up recording for about 2 hours. And unfortunately, when I looked at the camera, I found out that my phone didn't have enough gigabytes and it just stopped recording. And obviously we were very upset, right? But because we thought that the first 19 minutes were just so great and so impactful, we want to keep it going and not get rid of it. So here we are. The podcast continues.
Well, thanks for having me
Yeah,
again.
no problem. Another day, and I'm so happy that Vin not only came, but just his mindset coming into this. Because of course I had to make that awkward phone call where I had to tell him that most of it got deleted, and I wasn't looking forward to that.
I was still heading home. I was at the traffic light.
Yeah, he was still heading home, and I really should have told him right then and there, but I was in such shock. I was like too afraid, if we're being honest. So I'm like, thinking to myself, like, how am I going to do this? And I realized that I have to tell him, because when he sees that it's 19 minutes, he's going to know something happened, right? So I told him, and one thing I have to say about Vin is such a optimistic guy. Because when I told him, he responded to me and said, all good, bro. Let's make the second one even better. And when he said that to me, I'm like, because I was so upset, and I'm like, what are we going to do? And when Vince said that, I'm like, you know what? He's right. And at that moment, we had two choices. We could have won. We could have been down and sad and said, we just, 2 hours was drained. It was gone. But instead, Vin helped me look at it as a positive thing. Like, you know what? We're going to make this even better than it already was. And that's what we're going to do, brother. So come on, let's get some here.
Of course.
Man, I mean, wow. What a journey, huh?
Yeah.
So, I mean, where to begin? I mean, we're really starting, when we look at the timeline, right? We started with the beginning. I think now we're at, let's talk elementary school to middle school. So, you just got into golf. I know we were talking about golf before. What age were you getting into golf?
About 13. 13 years old.
13. Okay. And now you're still playing hockey, right? You're still playing lacrosse.
Yeah.
Now, are you playing seasonally, or are you playing all year round?
I want to say, if I can remember, I played baseball too, so it was just constant practice.
You played baseball as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was just rolling with sports. I mean...
Yeah, so listen, you're a real athlete.
Yeah, so golf wasn't really a sport I was playing in school. It was kind of just like a hobby, but like really getting into it, because I did like the sport of golf.
Yeah.
I don't really watch it on TV. Not really. It's really the other three sports like hockey, baseball, and lacrosse. But
gotcha.
Lacrosse it was kind of that spring season. Hockey was kind of the winter season, and then baseball was kind of the spring season as well. But
yeah. Did you play travel for all the sports, or did you just, like, how did that work?
So if I can remember, I started with travel baseball and travel lacrosse. Hockey was a little later.
Gotcha.
So then eventually, middle school still was kind of playing travel and for those three, and it was fun. I did. Oh, Joe, what are you laughing at?
I don't know, man.
This guy. See, look, I gotta say something too. It's so easy to crack this guy up.
I don't know why. But sometimes I look at Vin's face and I start laughing. I feel like me and Vin, we have such a rich history. We really do, and he busts my chops and I bust his chops, and it's just sometimes it just gets to the point where so sometimes I have those outbursts, and
when I was doing my fingers, was that because he kept looking at my fingers?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
I mean, I could flip you off if I want.
No, please don't do that.
Okay.
Please don't. I'm sorry.
So, getting back to travel.
Travel sports?
Yeah, travel sports, right? So, mainly, I played travel baseball. Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Oh.
Are you okay? I haven't even done anything. I have not done anything.
Viewers, you gotta give me a sec. Sometimes I don't know. I'm just having a moment, man. Just having a moment. I'm sorry.
It's whenever I smile at him, he just starts laughing at me.
Oh man.
I really hope you're cutting all this out. Time out. Okay.
No, we're not getting this. Watch this. Ready?
I'm walking off. I can't. This is unreal. We gotta restart, Rich.
No, we can't. We can't. Come back, brother. Listen, this is real. This is raw. This is life, man. The truth is,
This is so good.
I couldn't help myself, and I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready. So let's try it again. Ready? Deep breath. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You're unreal.
Okay.
Are you
So
good now?
I think I'm good.
Okay, good. That's a plus.
So let's talk travel sports, right? You were playing. I mean, lacrosse, baseball, hockey. You were playing golf as well.
Yeah, but golf wasn't really.
Was golf more of like a recreational thing? You just kind of played for fun?
Yeah.
Okay. So you weren't on an actual team?
No.
Did you go? Maybe you went to a couple camps over the summer?
Yeah, I went to a few camps. They were fun. I had a lot of fun with those camps. And I was very competitive with the other campers, I will say.
Really?
Every time at the range, I'm like, hey, I'm going to hit my driver a little farther than you, pal.
Did you really say that?
I was a very cocky dude.
I mean, one thing I will say is, I would say over time, Vin, you actually became, I'm going to say, a little more calm.
Yeah.
When I first met Vin, which was in middle school, I mean, you were off the walls. I'm just going to be real.
Yeah.
You were nuts. I mean, not in like he got into trouble and stuff, but it was just, like, he would bust my chops, like, every couple minutes. You know, he'd come over and, like, say, just whatever, say something, or maybe, like, shut my computer off, or he just busted my chops.
Was that lunch, too? Lunch
was, yeah,
Okay.
lunch was bad. I remember one time, because Vin has a very loud voice, especially when he screams.
Yeah.
Very loud. And I remember one time we were in the cafeteria, and you like yelled at somebody.
Okay.
And like, now picture this, a middle school cafeteria. Like, I miss tons of kids talking.
It's louder in
It's
general.
so loud, you can't hear nothing. And Vince, like, you didn't scream, but you yelled. And everybody just like not the whole cafeteria, but like the first like a couple tables around Vin's table, just like stopped talking. And they just like looked over at Vin. And Vin got like super embarrassed. And I think your like cheeks got all red, and, you know, but like, and I'm just like, whoa. Wow, Vin's, whoa, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of like, I think people got the hint, like, don't mess with Vin.
Yeah, I can get behind that for sure.
Right?
Yeah. And the thing is too is, back in middle school, I didn't really eat much. Really.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's not that you didn't eat much. It's probably like you just ate like a normal human, right?
Well, I ate like all those other cafes. All those other people.
Yeah.
Just like maybe like the cheeseburger slider, and then maybe like the tater tots, and then maybe once in a while I got like a cookie or some sort of or it was like apple slices, some like. But I would only eat that.
Yeah.
Or brown paper bag, PB&J.
Yeah.
PB&J.
That was a classic, right?
PB&J was a classic.
Yeah.
And it would be.
You never brought lunch though, did you really? I mean, because from what I'm remembering, you always bought, right? Bought in the school, and you got the cafeteria food.
Totally honest, I thought I brought more than I
Really?
lied. Just because I was just like, I kind of just like Mama's PB&J's. They're pretty good.
That, bro.
So like I would do like a PB&J, probably some Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its, those are really good.
Yeah.
And then I want to say like probably like a honey bun, something like that.
Honey bun? What? A honey bun?
It was,
like the
yeah, whatever those.
Bun,
yeah.
Hostess, like a hostess.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that was probably what my lunch was in middle school.
Yeah, I was pretty. I always brought.
Yeah.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just didn't like the idea how I didn't know what meal it was.
Yep.
You know, because some meals I liked, but some I didn't.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to take the chance. One meal though I always had a thing for was breakfast.
French toast sticks?
French toast sticks,
Yeah,
dude. Those were so good.
Yeah, and that syrup, I mean...
Syrup is great. I mean, cafeteria syrup's quality.
Yeah, you can only imagine how much sugar is in that.
True, and then the chocolate milk. And that was great. And then sometimes they give you like a funnel cake or something, or like...
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe they give you like some sausage. It was just good, man. It was good food.
I think it was like those sausages.
Those sausages.
Yeah.
And they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Nothing to snooze at. One thing I couldn't stand was like pasta.
Yeah, it was a disgrace.
Just because I as a fellow Italian, like it's just when you've had so much better, it's hard to go down. Like so much. You know what I mean?
It's a complete downgrade. Man.
It is.
It's just like what you said, like from us to Italians, and we get something like that. We're like, what are they feeding us? Hot garbage? What is this?
It's
and like
bad.
the sauce, like everything. I mean, we kind of got what we expected. Cafeteria, cafeteria food. It's not gonna be anything special, right? It's not gonna be homemade mama sauce, all that.
Yeah. No, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever noticed, but the burgers are always so well done. Like,
Yeah.
I've never seen like a little pink in the middle.
No, and I think they're required to be well done.
Probably because just in case anybody gets sick, right?
Yeah, and I mean, they'll probably freak out if there's just the tiniest pink and it's not actually like medium rare burger. Like, excuse me, this has pink in my burger, and like, they'll freak out.
Yeah.
Or if like sometimes there's like that like blood coming out of the burger.
Yes. Which I mean, I think that's cool. Like when when the juices are flowing, like that's how you know.
But middle schoolers will freak out.
Well, some middle schoolers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hectic at Burner. It really was.
Yeah. Burner was something for
Right?
sure, especially at lunch. Just like
Lunchtime was chaos.
the tables were like filled. Like there wasn't like an empty table. Like you go down the row and there's probably at least 4 to 5, maybe 6 people at a table.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, it's.
And it's not like the principals or anybody would just like do like that and everybody would just stop.
No, these kids. Middle school is such a interesting age because they're mature enough where like they won't listen to that.
Yeah.
But they're immature to just like be chill.
Yeah.
And everybody's just going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, crazy times.
Yeah. I would probably say more towards Ames, like Afterburner. I hated it. I thought Ames was worse than.
I actually liked Ames. I thought our grade was pretty chill for the most part. And I just thought it was, I don't know, I thought it was nice.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like the grade above and below us was a little bit like rowdy.
I feel like it was kind of more like the grade below us.
Yeah, you think
especially
so?
as we got into middle school, and then high school.
We noticed they came with us too.
Well, yeah, it's a hefty bunch.
It is, yeah.
But I also probably hated Ames more because I probably got in trouble more at Ames than Burner. Burns.
Like I said, Vin didn't get in trouble. I mean, it's not like I've seen you like you were going to the dean, getting suspended. I mean, I'm sure you've had your moments, but what's really funny about Vin is that. Vin, especially little Vin, right?
Yeah, baby Vin.
Not baby Vin, little Vin, we'll say, right? Baby Vin, little Vin, and then big Vin. So, you're in the in-between stage, we'll say, with little Vin, he had this persona.
Yeah.
And he made it clear to the other students that, he was the alpha male. But whenever there was like an authority figure or something, you would immediately turn it off and Vin would get all like quiet and timid.
Yeah. It's like I wouldn't say like curl up in a ball, but like
no, not curl up in a ball. But let's just say a teacher said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He just would be like, "Nothing." He wouldn't raise his voice and say, "Hey, don't talk to me like that."
Yeah.
Vin one day he'll say, "Oh no, nothing.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah,
just mind my own
And then
business."
she said, "You know what? You got suspension." He'd probably go, "Okay." He wouldn't say, "No, like I'm absolutely not. I demand, or I demand you."
Gotta get that.
I saw you looking at that. It's not like you demand. Like I demand you not doing this.
Yeah, I wasn't like one of those.
Yeah.
I never got ISS or out of school.
You never talk back to the teacher.
I talk back.
I feel like you're an honest guy though. Like let's just say the teacher said, "Vin, did you do your homework?" And let's just say you didn't. I feel like you wouldn't even lie, but you just say, "I didn't."
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you know what? I'll turn it back. I'll turn it back to elementary school. I don't know if you got like those big like math books that like you just use your pencil and do your problems or like.
Okay.
So there had to been like I want to say this happened like 3-4 times, and Vin was a big video game guy back in the day.
Really?
And I would lie like all my homework's done, and I would be gaming on the game, and then I get to the class and I'm like, I didn't do my math. I'm like, whoa, hello. You're really close to me, but getting back to it. So what I would do was so like my math book would be like right here, and I'm like this, and I'm just writing, And of course, teacher goes individually
Yeah, of
to all the
course they do
students.
that.
Okay. And I knew I was like cooked.
Yeah.
I knew I was never gonna get this done because like it was like 2 pages of homework. So like,
You're
there's
not
no.
getting away with
I'm
it.
not getting away with this. I maybe get a few problems in, but like, it for me too is I wasn't very good at like cheating.
Really. Yeah.
And I was just writing down. And I knew like I hope I don't get caught. So I keep looking up and like seeing what the teacher is, and I'm like, crap. I gotta make sure it's not like just a circle. Like I have to like solve the problem. So that already takes enough time because.
Yeah.
So I would get caught all the time. And then it would just be like a whole morale change toward like the whole day, like lunch and end of school. Parents say, how did classes go? I'm like, they went great, Mom. In reality, I didn't do my math homework,
Yeah.
but I didn't tell them that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to get away with some stuff, but
How'd it go? Not too well.
no, they always caught me.
Really.
They always knew I was up to something.
One thing I will say about middle school versus high school is middle school they're a lot stricter when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, high school you can get like an extra day if you really, really bow down and beg to them. Like, someone was in the. And the thing is too is like the high school people, they would make up the most darkest like oh my grandpa was in the hospital, like something like that, or like someone died in my family. Like, it would get that extreme.
I mean that's very extreme.
Just for a math assignment or an English assignment, or they need more time to write their essay in high school. But I don't know. Personally, I would just take it on the chin. I didn't do this,
That's one thing I gotta give you credit for.
Yeah, I'm a pretty honest guy.
You are.
When it gets to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I know deep down if I say it in my mind, I'm like, this is not getting through. They're gonna find a way. Like, I'm not getting away with this.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
yeah, it's just the person I am.
But I think that's a good trait to have.
I don't like to lie either, really, because I know lying. When I lie, I feel guilty. Like I feel really guilty. Like, why did I say this?
Yeah.
And even everything I say in this pod, I'm not lying.
Yeah.
You know.
That's why I appreciate that.
I'm not lying. I don't like to lie.
Yeah.
I don't like to lie to any of my friends.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason maybe I'd lie, maybe I'd give like a white lie if I had, if I had to, or I just.
What would you lie about? Because now I know if you lie, I know what you're lying about. See, I'm always one step ahead of Richard, man.
I think like a really good example is, let's just say, I mean, just to give like a context, let's just say you sent me a picture of yourself like flexing, and you said, "Do I look good in this pic?" And let's just say you looked awful.
Yeah.
I'd probably say, yeah, dude, you look pretty good, or not bad, or something. I mean, I wouldn't say you look amazing, but I wouldn't say, dude, you look awful. Like, you should, I wouldn't want to hurt someone.
No, I don't.
But I like to be honest, but sometimes you gotta, throw in a little bit of a, maybe not even, I wouldn't call it a white lie, but, they say, like, exaggerate the truth. Or, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
In that context.
I think when anyone ever sends me their physique, if I'm actually like helping them, get into the gym or stuff, and and they say they look like unreal, and I actually see them and they look kind of average, I say they just look good. Like, I'm not gonna say like, dude, come on, man, hit the squat rack, or hit the bench, or really start. The only thing I would say to them is just eat food, and just keep eating.
Yeah.
If they're saying they want to be bigger,
well, it depends what their thing is, right? Because I mean, a lot of kids usually they're like really lean, but they don't have a lot of mass.
Yeah,
that's usually like the typical, starting lifter. But some people it's the other way around. Sometimes maybe they're overweight or they're big, but they want to get leaner, just put on more muscle tissue. So I think everybody's different.
Yeah, and I really mainly tell the people that usually I help are usually skinny and they need just eat more.
Yeah.
So all I tell them is that, yeah, you look good, just just keep eating because pretty much everyone I help is still bulking. Like I don't really know anyone besides like you or anyone that's really cutting.
Yeah, right?
The
cut starts. Well, it started.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll say about you is I don't think the viewers understand. Like when you say eat more, like they just think, oh, let me just, maybe add a little more beans to my rice. It's like, no, like you don't understand what Vin's trying to say. When you see, I've been out and, I've seen Vin eat in person. And one thing that I'll say is that Vin eats a lot of food, right? So a good example is Shahs, right? I have to say the story because it's true, right? So when you go to Shahs, you get a platter or a plate.
That's usually the main thing.
And that's
have gyros and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes you get different stuff, but for the most part, we get chicken and rice. It's classic with white sauce, right? It's very good. And usually me, I get about one. Okay, let me retract. I always get one. And one is pretty filling. After I eat one, I'm pretty stuffed. Vin goes there and says, yeah, I'm gonna get two.
And I was confident. Like I was.
Yeah, he didn't even hesitate. He was like, I'm getting two. And Jordan, I says, I'm getting two as well. But when Vin ate it, it was so, he made it look very effortless.
Especially the first one. The second one was a little bit of a struggle.
It wasn't even a struggle, it just took a little longer. Maybe you need a little more water to get it down. But he got it down and it was just, and the scary part is, it's not like you didn't eat anything that day. Like you ate normally.
Yeah.
And you had that. And I think people don't realize what it takes to actually put on size. Like how much you actually have to eat and how uncomfortable it is.
It's very uncomfortable. I will say that. And I will not lie. There have been times that just to get protein, I ate at 1 a.m. in the morning. I ate it. And I do not advocate for that. I don't tell people to do that.
Yeah.
It's just my body is actually just used to it by now because I've ate at like 11:30 at night just a beef and rice meal. But
one thing I'm gonna say for the record, I actually hate bulking. I do because I want to put on size, but I hate I much rather cut. Like right now I'm cutting.
Yeah.
I'm so much happier.
You haven't lost energy really or anything?
No, dude, no.
I'm just asking.
No. I mean, probably once I get deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'm going to lose energy. I think I'm just going to get leaner. Because it's, again, like, I'm at 3,000 right now.
Yeah.
Which is not that low, but it's a little low for me. And I'm going to go down to 2,000. And 2,000 is not a lot, but it's, listen, I mean, Jesus didn't eat for 40 days. I think I can survive on 2,000.
And how many weeks are you going to go to 2,000?
It's 12 weeks.
Okay.
12 week prep. So start at 3,000. Every 2 weeks you go 200 calories down, and then.
That's another thing too is when you're cutting, don't just go all of a sudden 3,000. All right, I'm gonna eat 2,000. Right?
Yeah, you can't do that.
You gotta take it very, very slow, and you'll see results, right? You'll see
100%.
You'll see you're starting to trim body fat. You're starting to see your veins a lot.
Vascularity increases.
And that's what I do, especially for cutting. Definitely track your food all the time.
Oh, you have to. You have to be super careful when you're cutting because, you bulk, you work so hard to put on all this muscle tissue, and you want to preserve as much of it as possible.
Yeah.
Because that would suck if you just put on all this muscle and then you lost fat, but you also lost muscle. Because then it's like, what's the point of bulking if you're not gonna take your cut seriously? So you have to be careful.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I do believe after your first bulk, I feel like really tracking more and more, in my opinion at least. That's kind of what I've learned from my first bulk. I feel like this is my real first bulk. I've been lifting for a bit, but I feel like now I'm starting to actually know what I'm doing, right?
I think Vince's first bulk's been lasting about 2 or 3 years now.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I feel like before you cut, you want to have good muscle size. Right?
I get that.
Right? I don't want to cut too early and then feel like a little string bean, right? I want to make sure I have good size, and I believe I do have pretty decently good size.
I think you do. And Vin doesn't like to hear this, but I think Vin should cut.
He tells me it all the time. I do tell him that I'm probably going to start cutting soon, and then I tell him again and again and again.
And he won't do it, though. That's the thing.
But he loves cutting. I kind of like bulking. It's just my opinion.
It's understandable. But listen, at the end of the day, it's Vin's body. His choice.
Yeah, and I think as my college lacrosse season does get closer, I feel cutting definitely some weight is definitely a
Benefit, right?
benefit. It takes off the legs, takes off the upper body to just get more speed, right? Because speed does kill, right? In lacrosse, and you want to be fast.
Of course.
Especially when you're only 5'7". I know I might look maybe a little taller on the couch, but I'm only 5'7".
Yeah.
And I mean, another thing too is people shockingly, they look at me and I'm not kidding. This happened at college.
Okay.
And I'm just sitting in the room and I just asked the kid, how much do you think I weigh? And guess what number he said? Just take a guess.
Is it high or low?
You just take a guess and I'll tell you the result of what he said I was.
200?
He thought I was 150 pounds. He thought I was 150 pounds. Now, the kid that did guess my weight isn't really into gym and stuff and fitness, so I can understand the number, but I'm not going to lie, that hit me pretty hard. When he said, Finn, I think you're maybe like 150, and I'm like, whoa. I took a couple walks. I'm like, there's no way this guy thinks this is serious.
Yeah. Some people, being able to guess somebody's weight, I think, is a skill.
Yes.
Right? Like, not everybody can do that.
No. But I feel like, when people look at me, I don't think 150 kind of catches their eye. I feel like maybe 170, 180, something like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like another thing too is I feel like I'm a good 190, right? Like I don't feel like I'm too fat.
Yeah.
For 190. I wouldn't mind cutting a bit.
I think it'd be good for the summer. Just give your digestive system a rest.
Yes. I will say I have pushed this digestive system a limit. It does deserve a raise.
Come on, give it a break, man.
Yeah, because
Give it a break.
But the thing is too, is the food that I'm eating at night, it's not garbage. It was beef and rice, maybe.
You're still eating at night, though.
But yeah, of course. I don't like I said, I don't
Yeah.
I would never tell any of clients or any people that I give advice to eat this late. But I feel like it's given me results. But it definitely
it has for sure.
but
definitely gotten a lot bigger. Every time I see Vin, there's always this joke, because he goes away for college. So it's like every time I see him, he comes back a little bigger. Every time.
I'm not kidding. At those dining halls, I'm not kidding. One time I was there for 2 hours. I had 6 plates on my table. And you know what? It got to a point that the dining hall lady working at the chicken told me to stop going on.
No, she didn't.
I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. She told me, I've seen you too much up here. You got to stop going to this station. And I was just like, I think my job is done. So then I left and I went back to my room. But
Wow.
It's crazy. I'm not the only person that's done it there. I've seen people at the dining hall. One of my buddies, Sully.
Is he a gym guy too?
Yeah, definitely a gym guy. He's a wrestler as well. He's on the wrestling team.
They have a wrestling team?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's actually pretty good one.
Yeah.
I know one of the people that I think they went up to nationals. There's been 3 people that went up to nationals there.
Wow.
For different weights. I forgot the weights. I think it was 197 and other ones, but yeah, pretty impressive. In terms of the lacrosse team, we didn't have a great year,
Really?
but
What was the?
It was 4-13, 1-8 in conference, I believe. So we got destroyed.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it really became with how we prepared. I didn't think we prepared well at all. I didn't practice this year. I did tear my ACL, which we'll get into that.
We will,
of course. But so I did redshirt. So basically, redshirting is just sitting out the year. You get an extra year of eligibility.
Do you really?
Yeah.
So you can play when you're graduated.
I could go for a 5th year.
Are you gonna do that?
Playing lacrosse? I don't know yet. That'll be stay tuned if I want to. But
interesting. Sick.
Yeah. I'm like 90% sure that's how redshirting works.
No, I'm pretty sure you're right.
But yeah, I don't think we prepared very well. I didn't think our mentality was there. There were guys that showed up like 15 minutes late to practice. And
like
that was
every
just
day?
Yeah, and it was the same people, but.
Yeah.
they're graduating. I still thought they were good guys, but I didn't think they really didn't like playing lacrosse.
Yeah.
And I understand that because I mean, when you play all the way up from high school, or even me, I started at kindergarten.
Yeah.
And you play all the way up to college. Sometimes you get sick of the sport.
Do you
Sometimes
really?
you really do get burnt out, and I've seen really good players get burnt out and
Really?
stop playing the sport.
Have you ever got burnt out?
No, because I love it too much.
You do.
I really do. It's hard for me to give up. I'm not gonna lie, and we'll talk more mentality stuff, but it's really hard for me to give up a sport.
Really?
Yeah, even after tearing my ACL, it's hard for me to give up lacrosse because I feel like I still have something to prove. Because I didn't start going to the gym Like I started going to the gym because I was getting pushed around in hockey. Right, I was getting pushed around, and I was getting beat up. I mean, it sucked because I feel like every shift I had good shifts, but then like at the end I would get
Someone would hit into you.
hit into the boards, and it'd be like a hard hit, and I just wasn't ready for it. But
and then you get all bruised up, right?
I wasn't. It's not like I get bruised up. It's like it's kind of just I get pushed, but I fall down. And usually, I mean, when the fans get into it, and you get bodied, as they say.
Yes.
Fans get into it, and you just have to get up and just keep going on your shift. And I guess we'll get right into when I tore my ACL in high school.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, we could.
Okay, so now, I mean, we're really fast forwarding. So through middle school, through high school, Vin's doing his thing, right? He's grinding, hockey, lacrosse, gets into a little golf in high school, but now it's senior year.
Yeah, I guess we can get into senior year.
Senior year, middle of the season, right? Couple games before conferences, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, a couple games. I mean, unless you want to get back to JV before we get into the spicy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Let's hold it there.
Let's take things slow here. Let's take our time, right? So
let's take our time.
Let's talk JV, right? So middle school Vin, he's doing his thing. He's on the team.
Yeah. I guess I'll take it away. So JV was rough. This is kind of like not really honestly lifting. I would say I wasn't really lifting.
So you're not lifting right now.
I wouldn't say lifting too much. Maybe like some push-ups before bed. Maybe some.
Yeah.
I was kind of like
You were a calisthenics dude.
Watching those
5-minute ab.
ab videos.
Yeah. Same here. I was.
Some crunches maybe. Some minute planks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But nothing really like bench press or barbell squat or anything like
Probably
that.
didn't even know what that was.
No, I honestly probably didn't. I didn't really watch gym influencers either. I wasn't really into the gym really. I thought it was kind of like scary, I guess you could say. But I mean, just because I didn't like get into it really.
I actually get exactly what you meant. I was the same way. I was actually. I don't like to use this word. I mean, scared of the gym.
I guess more like insecure.
Yeah, I felt. You always hear these rumors about how. Like it stunts your growth, and
exactly.
It's like it's dangerous. You can't do it. You're too young.
Yeah.
So I was like super hesitant. I'm like this is. I almost thought of it as like a last means.
Yeah.
Like if I really couldn't, and that's exactly what happened. Where it was just like similar story to you, where because I was a wrestler, right? So I felt like I was lacking in physicality and strength, and I knew something was missing. I knew it. Because I was working too hard at wrestling that.
Yep.
I knew I should have been getting better results.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, even at dinners, after practice, I wasn't eating enough. My parents even told me that to my face. They're like, Vin, you gotta put some meat on those bones, or you're looking like a skeleton, like stuff like that. And it kind of put a fire in my belly. Like I gotta start working harder and really start eating more. But I didn't really start eating too much more, really.
Yeah.
I know if there was one dinner that I really went crazy on was tacos. And that's where I really got to love the beef.
Really?
That's probably how I love beef, like ground beef, and so I kept eating tacos. But I guess really getting into the JV middle school lacrosse was a big learning point probably to where I am today with sports because with lacrosse especially, not much. I wouldn't say much hockey. It was probably I learned more with lacrosse than hockey. So basically in lacrosse, we had tryouts, and whenever I hear tryouts, it's kind of a word that I don't know really the word for it, but I get like a little jitters. I'd say.
Get a little nervous.
Yeah, I get a little nervous,
No.
a little jitters about it because I don't want to make a mistake. And anytime I make a mistake in front of coach, I look directly at him. I look directly at him, like, where's coach? Where's coach? Did he see that? Did he see that? Did I miss that ground ball or did I miss that shot? So I always get like all like that. Even if I just drop a ball and I pick it right back up. It's like I had that like energy. Like if I messed up, I might get cut from the team.
Why did you care so much about what the coaches thought? Because they would determine whether you were going to get on the team or like.
Yeah, probably. I'd probably say that. I probably would say that. Like if I make a mistake here or there, or I get beat too much on one-on-ones, then they're not going to trust me in a game situation like that. Probably something like that. So I want to say it was like a four-day tryout. So obviously school's still going on. So go to school, go on the bus, go Field of Dreams or. Because I think at the time it was still a dirt field, I want to say. So I don't even think they had turf on that field yet. If they did, it was just like my last year on it. So we went to Field of Dreams because of turf, and it's kind of like the big thing now. People love turf.
Yeah. Do you like turf?
We'll get into that in a second. My opinion on turf, but so we 4-day tryouts are over. I want to say it's Friday. So and coach tells everyone else to go off the bus. Go off to the bus, get ready, get on the bus, and he pulls 4 players aside. He pulls me and 3 others. And at first I thought, like, what could this possibly be? Is like, captains or something like that. It's the exact opposite. I get put in the practice squad.
Oof.
So I get put in the practice squad. He's like, Vin, and the 3 others, like, I'm just letting you guys know, appreciate you guys trying out, but I think what's best for you guys is throw you on the practice squad for now. And once I heard that, got on the bus and my head was just down. Because people were kind of shocked. Like Vinny is going, he's going to the practice squad. Right?
Yeah.
And that means I can't play in games. I can only practice.
Wow.
So that's really the big problem about practice squad is you don't really get a great opportunity. So I took that. And I texted my parents like, hey, just so you know, you're not going to like this, but I'm on the practice squad. And they were very shocked. They were like, oh my gosh, really? What the hell? I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I thought you were having great tryouts and all this. Because I was telling them, like, when I get home, like, they always tell me, like, first thing, like, how did tryouts go? How did school go? And I said, oh, good. I thought I did a lot of good things, scooped up the ground balls and stuff like that. And so practice starts really getting going for middle school and JV, and it really, I told myself, like, you're on the practice squad. You're not getting recognition and that you deserve, right? You really need to show these coaches that you're actually way better than some of these guys that were put on the regular roster.
Yeah.
And every drill, I was balls to the wall. Like, I was going bananas. Like, I wanted to play, and I showed that to the coaches. And at the end of practices, we would do sprints, like goal line to midline and back, or 100-yard back. I want to say I was one of the first ones to finish every time, and
so it really put a chip on your shoulder.
It totally put a chip on my shoulder. That's a great way to put it. And I look at it and I look back, and that shows, like, I didn't have that give up. Like, I was like, all right, I'm on the practice squad. Mom, I'm not playing lacrosse. I got put in the practice squad. I'm just gonna quit. I don't think the sport's right for me or something like that.
Yeah, you could have approached.
I could have so did it like that, and that's something that my parents are proud about, that I didn't quit. So I kept practicing. And I want to say I didn't play the first game of the year. It may have been against like Plain Edge, like some out of conference game.
Okay.
And then we had our next game against Montauk on the road. at Wellington. I want to say I got a text like the day before the game or like an email, probably more like an email.
Okay.
From coach, like, hey Vin, we really appreciate the efforts you put in practice, and we want to try you out for our next game.
That's sick. So you must have been very hyped for that. Huh?
Once I saw that, I texted my parents right away, like, hey, I'm playing next game, and dad had to work unfortunately, so he couldn't go, but my mom was there, and one of my mom's friends, I want to say like a teacher there.
Yeah.
Because that teacher knew that I was a good lacrosse player.
Yeah. Now I want you to, for the viewers, right? Vin was put on the practice squad, and this was 9th grade.
Yeah, I want to say.
Okay. Now he's playing college lacrosse. So it just goes to show you that we all have humble beginnings, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's it's not how you start until you finish, but
yeah.
And so first game goes. People were already telling me like on the bus, like, Vin, bro, you're playing today, let's go. Like, people were hyped.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because they knew originally I deserved to be on the roster, right? They were shocked that I was put on the practice squad, and that lit a fire in my body, and I was just like, all right, Vin, today's your day. You can't mess this up. But like in my head, I'm like, you're gonna make mistakes. Like you're gonna, it's not gonna be a perfect game you play, but I want to say this was one of the more perfect games that I played. I mean, I had a goal. I went coast to coast. I was like, I'm scoring.
You had a goal?
Yeah, I had a goal.
thought you were a defender.
Well, that's the thing. I went coast to coast. Like I grabbed the ball and I went all the way down.
Are you allowed to do that?
Yeah, as long as someone stays back.
Wow.
So I went coast to coast, and I was like,
what made you do that? You just were feeling it?
I was probably just feeling it.
And they allowed you to?
Well, yeah, because the coach isn't going to stop you. It's really the players, they stay on sides.
Yeah.
So, in terms of lacrosse terminology, basically it's a long pole playing close defense. Goes over the midline. A short stick has to stay back, and that's what happened.
So one of the middies stayed back?
Yeah, one of the middies, I don't know the name, but he stayed back. No offside, so I'm just like, I look at the cage and I'm like, that thing is massive. I want to score this goal, and I do. But the first thing is, it was a 2-point game, so I got the assist first. It was two, like, at the same exact place. Like, the first one I went coast to coast, and I give a quick pass right down low, and the guy puts it in. Give him a massive hug, like, let's go, sick, and everyone's like, let's freaking go, nice play, man.
Yeah.
And then, I did it again, and this time I actually scored, and it was, nice bounce shot. And that was really probably the highlight of my middle school JV year. And
really?
After the season, and the thing is too, is after that, I got constant minutes. Like, I was getting constant minutes then.
Good.
And then, after the season, kind of like exit interviews, I guess, like whole team parties, and coach pulls me aside and he's like, I didn't know you had that in you. I didn't know he was that type of person, that type of player, and that kind of showed me what I was today, like a guy that just constantly works, puts in extra work. So that was kind of my JV season, practice squad.
And I think that just goes to show you that you might not be the most talented guy in the world. As a matter of fact, most people aren't.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's very few people who have a ton of talent. But I think if you really work at something, you can still do amazing things and surprise yourself in the process.
I mean, I think the biggest thing I take away, like I said before, is I didn't give up, and I didn't cry about it, or I didn't, I wouldn't say I really lost sleep from it. I just knew
you took it on the chin.
Yeah, I knew that, all right, I didn't work hard enough, and other people worked harder than me in drills, and I didn't see that, but, the other coaches did, and it was a huge learning point for me today. Like, if I come back to this college lacrosse season, yeah, I tore my ACL, but that doesn't mean I can't work hard. I'm fully healthy, like, heading into next year. And if I just assume, like, I'm just gonna get a starting spot, like, you don't. That's not like no guarantee. Like, I mean, another thing that I've learned really from I guess from a recruiting standpoint is kind of like a way that coaches try to get players to go there. Is like, yeah, we have a spot for you, and like you can play, but that's not always a guarantee. Like
Nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah,
If you really think about it.
Yeah, and like some other player could come in too that he said the same exact thing, and that guy wins the spot over you. So I mean, there's no guarantee for that. And I learned that, right? I thought it was a guaranteed spot on the JV roster, middle school JV roster, and then I think next year or my last year JV, coach needed a face-off guy.
Really?
I never took a face-off in my life.
You took a face-off?
I've been playing the game since kindergarten. I never took a face-off in my life.
Really?
So I didn't know really. He showed me some pointers of what to do in this, but that was it. Like it wasn't like, all right, I'm just gonna let you do this, and you're gonna have to learn yourself. Like he did tell me some things, like the setup and how to really, really win face-offs. And
how'd you do?
I played the game against Ocean. Well, yeah, I played the game against Oceanside.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it was kind of like, there was a lot of people, like a decent amount of people there, like a 12 o'clock home game. So, on like a Saturday. So, parents are able to go, they don't have work.
Yeah.
And he's like, Vin, let's go, baby. Like, you're taking the starting draw. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. And I want to say every time I took a face off before, I would go in a squat position. And I would talk to God.
What?
Like, I'm not kidding. I would.
So you pray?
I basically prayed before every face off. Like, I basically prayed every face off.
Every single one?
Almost every single one.
And what'd you talk to God about?
Just like it's my day. Just like support me with strength, and don't let me get in my head and stuff like that. Just like a simple, quick 10-second talk.
Really?
And
did you do that, or it was just more like...
It was more of just like a talk. Like, I may have done it. I don't really remember.
Okay. Was this kind of the start of your faith in, because I know on your Instagram, right, God first?
Yeah.
Right, so is this kind of where that all originated from?
Yeah, kind of. I'm a big believer in God.
Yeah.
I'm a sinner, but, I still...
We all are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're all sinners. We just gotta...
Yeah.
Try to be better every day.
Yeah, exactly. I don't read the Bible, but I do intend to soon. Like,
really?
I really do.
Just want to give you a little pointer, because I know the Bible's a big book.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, listen, I'm actually reading, in the process of reading the Bible. Right.
Yeah.
I've read some of it, but not all of it. I would say start with the Gospels.
Okay.
Matthew, Mark,
Luke,
John.
Definitely.
I think those are good to start with. Easier reads.
Yeah.
And I think it'll just be more.
Just like an understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have another question.
Okay.
Do you go to church?
I don't, but I definitely in the future want to really go to mass and more often.
Yeah.
Learn about it.
Maybe go to mass with me one day.
Yeah, maybe, definitely. Right. But getting back to the Oceanside game, I was nervous, I will admit, because I knew the guy that I was taking on. Like, this guy, he's kind of got an understanding of face-off since that his first rodeo, like me.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure most of the guys, it's not their first rodeo. Like, most
of
the guys probably have been playing that position for years and years.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were definitely at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
right?
So that's just a different disadvantage, and yeah, he may have been a little more talented, but I knew that I'm a hard worker, and I knew that if I just put my mind to it, that I could beat this guy. And
there's something you have to realize, right? Like, that mentality, I think, is so important, because it doesn't really matter what you're doing, right? Like, lacrosse is one thing, right? A sport or a job. Whatever it is, whatever you want to do, if you have that train of thought, I think you're gonna see success in it.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Right. Without that work ethic, you wouldn't be able to start. That's how you started your podcast. It led to so many different things. The camera work you do with the lacrosse team.
Yeah, and we'll get all into that.
Oh, we sure will.
But going back to the Oceanside game, really just digesting it real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I won the face-off.
You do.
I do. So I didn't really think about it like, oh shoot, I had the ball. Like, I was just like, all right, I just gotta win. And I won. And it's pretty simple. Just it was kind of like a face-off, get-off kind of thing. Fogo. That's really analogy for it.
You get it right? Maybe pass it to a...
Yep, I just pass it to the attackman and then just run off usually.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of just...
So you were midi the whole game?
Pretty much. I mean, face-off is kind of, the midi part of it.
It's like it's a midi, but it's the middle midi.
Yeah. So it's kind of, one of the more important ones because, you win a lot of face-offs, get a lot more possessions, find ways to score.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember there's this clip of me, I lose the face-off, right? So I lose the face-off, just get into the zone, and then the guy on Oceanside quickly drops it, and I pick it up, and I want to say, when my dad was recording me, I want to say I went out of his frame because of how fast I was running. Like, I was just a bull in a china shop, just like, I was just running as fast as I can, and I want to say I had like 10 or 15 yards done. Because that was all I was thinking about. It was just running as fast as I could, not worrying about anything else, and just winning.
One thing I will say, I've seen a couple videos of you, going, and you are very fast.
Yeah, and that's what I want to be for college. So fast, but yeah, that game ended up going into OT. So in my eyes, I'm like, this game is in my hands. Like, it is in my hands. Like, I have to win face-offs and I have to consistently do it. Because, overtime, it's one shot, one goal, game's over. It's not like, okay, we scored, or they scored, we got 5 minutes left in overtime. Like, it is like that. Like, if you lose, you lose.
That's it, yeah. So what ended up happening?
We ended up winning.
Okay.
So we ended up winning the game, and in my mind, I was just like, I just helped my team win a game in a large impact. And that's kind of also just what kept me playing the sport. Like, if I could do that, I could do that for anything. It's just how badly I want it.
Yeah.
And that's really it.
And that's when you realize that how even though obviously it's a team sport, how your influence had such a big impact.
Yeah. Crowd was going crazy, and then, right after that, literally right after the game, I had a hockey practice. So like, that's how my schedule was working. Like, I would just have practice after practice after practice.
Yeah.
And I was basically, lifting. It was really just constant cardio, right?
Really?
It was really just constant cardio because, you burn so much in hockey. You burn so much in lacrosse. And those were really the main 2 sports I continued to play. Left baseball a while ago, but...
Was there a reason why you left baseball?
I had to make a choice, either lacrosse or baseball, and I chose lacrosse because, one, kind of because I feel like my mom liked me playing lacrosse more than baseball. Really, I think my mom had a big impact on it.
Really?
Yeah.
She wanted you, or she actually
loved
enjoyed
lacrosse.
She just thought it was a cool sport.
She loved lacrosse. She loved watching me play.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I did it for myself, but I also did it kind of for her. I would say.
Interesting.
But yeah, that was really my Oceanside game, and then we played Farmingdale. That was a close game. Didn't win the game, but that was kind of the learning experience. Like, yeah, you'll have a good game, but you'll also sometimes lose.
Yeah.
So losing is a big part of my career, just for sports. I have tons of silver place medals, second place losses, and yeah, I held my head up high, and teammates are yelling like, "Oh, we lost," and all this, and I'm like, I try to calm down, but obviously they're in the moment. They're like, "Bitch, shut up, dude, we just lost." And I feel like for me, losing is just a part of the game, and you don't realize it until you lose. But all the best athletes lose,
And I think what people have to realize is that it's a game, right?
It's a game with a lot of meaning to it.
Well, some people
lose.
Some people give it a lot of meaning.
Yeah, and I think I'm one of them. I don't like to lose. I don't like to go home or take a long bus ride and then get killed, or go on a travel road trip, go 3 hours away from home and then lose 6-1 or something like that. Like, I don't like that.
Of course.
Not only do I not like that, but I also don't like that, parents take time out of their day and they, use up gas just for us to lose. And that's why, for me, I don't like to have bad performances, especially for long games, because I know my dad's always screaming at the game.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't hear it, but he tells me, like, what I did here or there, and I don't hear it. Like it's
Yeah.
in the
That's
moment.
another
I'm
thing I
just
wanna talk
locked
to you
in.
about,
Like, I'm
right?
just locked in.
Did your dad, play lacrosse, hockey, like when he was a kid, or?
I want to say he played more pond hockey. Like he was actually on the pond. A bit more.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, like ice hockey on the pond?
Yeah. So
Pond
just
hockey.
he played a lot of pond hockey.
Which, like, for fun?
Yeah, just for fun with those
Oh,
guys.
Okay.
I don't know if really lacrosse was a big thing.
Maybe played like football.
I know in his later years he played softball,
Gotcha.
like men's softball.
Yeah. But he's definitely like an athletic guy. Like he played sports.
Yeah. I mean, another thing too was he benched 365 pounds in like freshman year of college. Some
Really?
crazy. So crazy strength that he had.
Yeah.
And then he come to
His freshman year.
Yeah. It was
So your dad's stronger than you.
Yeah.
Really?
He still has some size to himself.
Yeah.
I am a big motivator to tell him to keep going to the gym.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's a hard worker. I do appreciate everything he's done. And
Yeah.
kind of where he's got me today. But I mean, we're talking about a lot of me. We gotta talk about little Richie, man.
Oh man.
We gotta talk a little bit Richie.
Oh boy.
I mean, we could take it back to middle school. We could take it back to JV. Wrestling. We haven't really talked about your wrestling.
True.
I mean, before we get into my injury, we gotta talk about your torn labrum.
Yeah, true. I guess we'll bring it back to middle school, right?
Yeah,
So
why not?
I was at that time, I would say 7th grade. I didn't do any off-season training, right? It was just going to the seasonal practices,
Yep.
and I would say 7th grade was a little bit of a wake-up call for me, right? Because I realized that I was good, but I wasn't the best. Like I wasn't, the best guy at my weight class, right? Because it was, there's A mat and B mat, and A mat is like the best for each weight, and I lost, and that really fired me up, and it kind of like with you, where it's like you have to make a choice. Where I guess there's really 3 choices, right? I could either get better, accept B mat, or leave the sport. And for me, I wanted to. It fired me up, and I wanted to keep going. I wanted to keep better, so I started going, over the off season, started to train, and I got a lot better my 8th grade year, and I saw that improvement, and it kind of lit even more of a fire, and it was addicting.
Yeah.
And I was on a roll, and I was on a quest to be the best, and then I got injured, right? Towards the end of 8th grade, and I tore my labrum. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I just kind of brushed it off, put some ice on it, and it was just like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And it was, and then it popped out.
Yeah.
And then I put some ice on it.
Pop your shoulder back in, or no?
Just like it.
Yeah. Same thing with me when I tore my labrum.
They call it a suplexation.
Okay.
So that happened maybe about, let's just say four times or whatever. And then I was finally like, yeah, it's time. So I got the MRI, and at first it's funny because it didn't show up right away.
Yeah.
And then I went to PT, and then I got another MRI, and then it finally showed. And even though the injury probably happened, I think it happened in late May, it's probably happened around this time, right? And I got the surgery in December of the next year, because I had to make a choice, right? Because now it's my 9th grade year, and the coach said to me, he's like, I want to start you. And it hurt. It really hurt me, because I knew that I wouldn't be able to do it. I just knew it just wasn't going to work. So I got the surgery in hopes that I'd be ready by 10th grade. And, that was a COVID year. So it was a little bit...
That's crazy.
Yeah, it did. The season was short, but I'm happy that it was short, because my technique and just, my overall technique was getting a lot better, but I wasn't lifting, and it showed. And that, you know, in that year, you know, I would wrestle against the guys, and I was a better wrestler, but it didn't necessarily show, right? It made things a lot more difficult, and you know, that's when I met, you know, I was friends with Joe Downey. We wrestled together. He was my partner, and you know, he gave me, you know, I would beat him, but he gave me a hard time, and I'm like, and he's just so much stronger than me, and then he told me like, I'm lifting, and then I'm like, Joe, like, I gotta come with you, right? And that's really when I stepped foot in the gym. I'm like, okay, let's see what he does, and I wasn't shocked, right? He was outlifting me by, you know, a good amount, and that kind of opened my eyes to, hey, wake up and let's start putting some numbers, right? Let's start lifting, and then from there I started getting hooked on lifting. So now I was lifting, you know, I come back from school, lift, wrestle, and then I just kept doing that, and eventually, right? Maybe it was during the summer, and Joe Downey, he went on vacation with his family, right? And it was just me. So it was nice. I got to lift by myself and do my thing, which was cool. And then I'm at crunch, right? I think I was doing a little cardio, maybe finish up the workout, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a guy by the name of Santoro, right? And he comes out of nowhere, and he's just like, "Hey, Rich."
Yeah.
And at that time, Vin was pretty skinny. I mean, he wasn't really
Very skinny.
You know, he was, and you know, we would talk and whatever. Because me and Vin were friends in middle school. We had homeroom together, so. And we also, you know, at lunch we'd talk, right? We weren't like great friends, but we started talking, and he's like, "Yeah, Rich, like I'm going to the gym now. You know, I'm going to Crunch." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great." I think it was like one of your first times going to Crunch, or like you were new to the gym. I can tell.
Yeah, it probably was my first week.
And I think you told me, you're like, "Yeah, I just got done squatting." I think you said like 95 pounds or something. I'm like, "Oh."
I don't know what day
you told me 95, because at this time Vin was. I mean, you look kind of malnourished when I saw you, because
like that I was going on?
you were doing legs, and you were messed up because he had his stomach pumped because of
That's bad.
Yeah,
you
ate pizza, right? Didn't you have pizza?
I had a PB&J, like an Uncrustable, at this camp that I was working at for a hockey camp. So they were giving out like Uncrustables or some sort of, you know, food with the regular entree that they were providing. I had an Uncrustable that I'm pretty sure was expired.
Yeah. So
it was very expired, and I ate it, and...
Didn't you taste it? Didn't it taste like a little off?
Yeah, it tasted a little off, and I told my mom when I got home, like, I had this Uncrustable today. It didn't taste necessarily normal. It was like, I don't know if it was like the peanut butter or the jelly, that it didn't like taste the same. Then like the next morning at like 8 o'clock, because we had to be at the rink at like 8:30.
Okay.
And I was like, "Mom, I can't go to work today." And she's like, "Wow." I'm like, "My stomach is," I want to say I may have threw up that night too.
Really?
So it was like one of those, and I was just like, "I can't go." He was like, "All right, we'll bring you to like the doctor or something like that. Maybe even been to the ER. I don't even know."
Really?
It was that bad. But getting back to Crunch, I feel like Richie kind of knows where this is going, but we eventually lifted together.
We did. We did.
And I want to say, even before that, when I saw you on the cardio bike, I saw you at the corner of my eye, and I was like, "Let's lift together."
Yeah.
And by the way, back in the day, Vin thought he knew everything. He thought he was the scientist of lifting.
Yeah. And at the time, I only had one experience with lifting, right? And it was with Joe Downey.
Yeah.
And, you know, it got me started, but I still didn't know what I was doing. And I made it very obvious to Vin that I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I think Vin really took that opportunity and was like, "You know what? I'm gonna show him how to lift." Exactly. And not that the way we lifted was bad, right? Because we did lift with a lot of intensity, heart, passion. But at the end of the day, Vin did not know what he was doing. But he made him. It was all a perception. I perceived him, and I think everybody, well, not everyone else, I perceived him to know what he was doing because of how confident he was talking, and he was very aggressive with what he wanted to do.
Exactly.
Right, and it was
I had the plan.
It's an experience. At the very least, one thing I will say, give you props. So you always had a plan for every workout. Like you'd say, Rich, we're doing this, and this. The problem would come in when I'd say, I don't like this. I want to do this instead. And he'd say, no. And then it became a little bit of a butting heads, and we had to compromise. And usually Vin's go-to would he say, well, we're gonna do it my way today, and then the next workout we'll do what you want to do.
And that never happened.
And then, no, like it would, but it would be like, I wouldn't control the workout. I control like one exercise.
Yeah.
You'd be like, yeah, next chest day we'll do that exercise. And I'm like, okay. And you would, because I'd call you out. I'd be like, Vin, last workout you said we could do it. And you're like, okay.
I did say that. And barbell bench was a no-go for me.
Yeah.
Barbell bench was like, when he said like, hey, Vin, we're going to do some barbell bench thing. I'm like, Rich, we're not doing that. We're doing dumbbells. He's like, well, why not? And I'm like, Rich, we're not doing that. Just listen to what I say, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do incline dumbbells instead, or flat dumbbells.
When people talk about ego lifting, Vin had an ego.
I did.
Right. And the truth of the matter was, Vin didn't like the idea that I could bench more than him, and. I guess with barbell it's like obvious because like you can physically see the weights, and he just didn't like it. It just pissed him off, and I don't even think it was the exercise he didn't like. It was just the fact that I could do more than him, and because of that he just didn't want to do barbell, and which I felt, and because I noticed that he wanted to do all the exercises where he could load heavy. And if he could do more than me, he was like, he wanted to do it every time.
Exactly.
Right? So, it was interesting for sure. But we had a fun time. There were definitely moments throughout the lifting experience that I kind of questioned whether Vin knew what he was doing. One in particular was tricep pushdown, right? Where we were doing it, and I think I was going, and maybe I got to rep 10. And I was like, done. And Vin, out of nowhere, was just like, keep going. And
why'd you stop?
Yeah, he's like, why'd you stop? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I can't do anymore. And he's like, well, do more. He's like, you got 20 more. And then and I don't even think you dropped the weight. Or maybe you did, but like, not much.
Yeah, I probably dropped it like one more slot.
Yeah, one slot down. And like, I'm going, and he's like screaming in my face, like, come on, Rich, like, let's go. Like, you got 20 more. And I'm going, and my form is probably, I don't remember it because I was just so focused, but it was probably awful.
You probably wasn't getting full range.
And it was so bad that a guy actually came up to us and was like...
And he was a bigger guy.
And he was a well-built guy. You could definitely tell he was probably in his mid to late 20s.
He was definitely in very good shape.
He was. You could tell he knew what he was doing, and he came up to us like, you guys are doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I was listening to him, and he was talking about, I remember, like, mind muscle connection.
Yeah.
And he's like, you gotta feel it here and here. And I'm like, what is this guy talking? Mind muscle connection? Like, what is that? Like, mythical? Like, is that just made up stuff? And then I remember Vince says to me, he's like, whispers in my ear, like, yeah, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
And by the way, that's like Vin at like 140, like string beam.
Yeah,
like,
which is really funny because Vin was the one who didn't know what he was talking about.
Nope.
But what's crazy is that throughout that whole time, like, I thought you did. Like, I really thought you knew what you were talking about. Like, I like, we would joke, like, he was, like, the trainer. He was, like, he was going to train me, and, like, we joke around like that, And then what happened was, because what started to happen was, Vin plays hockey, and I wrestle, right? So our season started to come, and, I was so focused on practice and cutting weight that I really didn't have time to lift. So our lifting paths kind of diverged a little bit, and it gave me time to lift by myself. And maybe it's not that time that I realized it, but once I did tear my labrum a second time, right, during my 11th grade year, and it was hard because I couldn't even lift. I mean, even lifting, I had to really start from the ground up again, strength-wise. And what I would do is I'd go into the high school gym, and that's really when it started. I would go there.
It wasn't a terrible gym either.
It wasn't a bad gym, but because I didn't want to go to crunch, man. You know, it was kind of like embarrassing, you know, going there with a 5-pound dumbbell and
Yeah.
dude, but I really couldn't. I couldn't do a push up. Like it was bad.
Oh yeah, because you're leaving, right?
Yeah, my shoulder was so weak, and it was just it had awful stability. And in that gym, I'd go there every afternoon, and I went by myself, and I every time I got a little stronger, and then before you know it, I was back to normal strength. And then I finally decided to go back in the gym. And I'm still lifting by myself, doing my thing, and I get a text from Jordan. And Jordan's like, because we would talk, and you know, if you watch the, you know, the previous podcast with Jordan, you know, we talk about it, and he just texted me out of nowhere, come lift with me. I started lifting with him, and we would lift with great form, and we really lifted like properly, and I learned so much through that, and then I had like this moment where I'm like, bro, like everything we did was just like off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even though the technique was not there, at the end of the day, it was a part of both of our lifting journeys, and I think we learned a lot from it, because I think, you know, it's great to have like a personal trainer telling you how to do things, but when you experience it on your own, I feel like it's just so much more impactful.
Yeah. And probably the worst, I'd probably say the funniest experience was our first leg day.
Oh yeah.
Our first leg day at Crunch, I did have it planned out, so I mean, that was the thing, but the thing was the things that went on during that leg day. It may have even been our second leg day, but the barbell squat was,
Yes.
I will say, and I do joke with them all the time, if I was to make a tutorial video for Crunch Fitness of how to do the proper form of a barbell squat, I think Crunch Fitness would probably shut down or never have me ever do a tutorial again, because the form that was introduced for me, it was explosive. Legs were out.
Yeah.
Like legs were out wide. Like
yeah, I used to call it a Santoro squat because it was so unique, and I didn't know it was wrong necessarily. It just looked different, and I thought it actually looked pretty badass. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was sick. His legs would go so wide, and he looked like strong, you know. But it just was a little too wide, right? But there is something you have to keep in mind, right? When me and Vince started lifting for the first time, we didn't know how much each other lifted. Even though we were like the same size practically. I mean, I think you were always a little bigger than me. And even at that point, like if you were 150, I was 130. Like even now, like, you know, you're 190, when I was 160, now I'm 155. But that's besides the point. But there was a little bit of again, Finn's very competitive, right? So we go to the squat rack, right? He don't know how much I lift. I don't know how much he lifts. So you start with a plate. He goes, I go.
The plate didn't even go that bad.
No, then we pop on the 25s. No, I think we did a 10.
Yeah,
I
want
go
to be safe.
He goes.
Well,
and then he probably said to me, like, probably in a real serious voice, like, you want to go up? So I'm going to go up. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And you know me, because I'm pretty competitive too. So I'm like, yeah, let's go up then. We go up to the 35, the 10, the 25, the 35. And then we get to 2 plates. And that's when things really started to get interesting and I actually thought it was a little strange because Vin would do a plate in the 35 and he'd do it for like 8 reps, right? And then he'd get to 2 plates and he'd do like 2 reps. And then they were like worse than the plate in the 35. And I'm like, Vin, like what happened? And I think he looked at me, he's like, I don't know, man. Like I just couldn't do it.
It's like 225 was so big.
Like 225, but I think it was in your mind. I think you
1,000%.
Like once I physically put on that second plate, like you were scared, and because you'd hype yourself up significantly longer than the other ones. I'd have to like hype him up for like, he'd have to have his favorite song on, and then I'd have to like smack him and get him all crazy.
I want to say barbell squat took 35 to 40 minutes.
It was nuts. One thing I'll say with Vin is you definitely couldn't get a workout in an hour.
No.
It's gonna take at least 2 minutes. I mean 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. I'm gonna say.
Rest periods for squats were 5 to 6 minutes. So, and I was like telling Richie like, "Yo, take another minute."
Dude, that was like your quote. Like I'd be ready to go, and he'd be like, "Rich, take another minute. Take another minute. The rest is so." And I remember you saying this the rest is so important, man.
It's just as important. It's just as important as the exercise.
And me. I'm like, okay, Vin, whatever
whatever you say.
Whatever you say. So I listened to him, and I mean, I don't think that was bad advice, but like, it made our workouts go really long, especially when you're doing 4 sets of every exercise.
Because then we had hack squats after.
Remember what we used to call that?
No.
The killer.
Oh yeah, we did.
The killer,
we did
because we would drop
it,
and then you'd make me do like 20 reps.
Dude, it was bad. I remember
it was very hard.
I remember we were like telling Richie like, dude, I could barely get down. Like, because there was a stairway up to get to the hack squats or the Smith machines.
Yes.
So that was a problem alone. And by the way, I think that is a terrible thing to do, especially for leg days. I mean, if you can't get up the stairs or down the stairs, I don't know what to do. Like, imagine doing like Smith squats and like a really good, full range of motion, all that. And you can't get that. You can't go down the stairs. Like, you have to like hold onto the railing.
True.
And I mean, the introduction for me for Bulgarian squats was it was nuts.
Yeah, I think when I told you about it, like, at first he was like, yeah, sure, let's give it a go. And then I showed him how you do it, and he's like,
I couldn't do it right.
Like, you almost did like a double take. You're like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what then? Like, what's wrong? He's like, this is what a Bulgarian split squat is? I'm like, yeah. Like, why don't you try it out? Like, here, grab a 30. And you're like, okay, let's do it. And then he did it, and his face was just like, it wasn't even, during the set, he did it, but then after the set, he's like, Rich, like, I don't know if I can do another 3 sets. Because now keep in mind, with split squats, you have to do each side.
Yeah.
So you're really doing 6.
Yeah.
So he's like, Richard, I don't know if I can do this. And I think we did, like, I'm like, Vin, do it. Like, come on, do it. And then we did like 3 sets, and then we never did it again.
Yeah, that because that was like something I feel like Richie would like, yo, we could do it. And I like quickly denied it, like our next leg day or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, absolutely not.
Like, let's do leg extensions or some other, not as inferior movement.
Yeah.
I want to say like machine leg press went pretty wild.
Actually, now Vin loved machine leg press. Now, why do you think that is? Because he could load it up. And one of Vin's favorite things to do was maxing out the machine leg press. He'd do it every time. He'd get on there, he'd warm up, get a little warm up in, and he'd go right to it. He'd go, I think it went up to like 350 or something. Or 400 or
like
something.
380.
And then, of course, I think you put the seat like as far away as possible.
Did I? Or was it super close?
No, it wasn't close.
Oh, wasn't?
It wasn't
so
close.
It was really no range of motion.
I just remember there wasn't a lot of range, but he'd do his thing. He'd
a lot of slamming.
A lot of slam. Boom. It's like the bass drum. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's Planet Fitness. I'm getting kicked out for.
And then I remember like I would do a little lower than him, and like he would like I feel like you taunt me a little. He'd be like, Rich, like, what's the matter? You don't want to do as much as me?
Yeah.
Like you could tell he took so much pride in the fact that he did more than me.
Yeah, it's like, come on, Rich, stop, training like a little,
Yeah, like he legit say that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Finn, like I don't want to, like I don't feel the need to. He's like, and then he bust my chops, but
yeah, and I did a lot of that back crunch.
That's true.
It would be out of nowhere too. Like Richie wouldn't even expect it at some.
Yeah, just when I don't expect it, like he'd do something.
He'd be like a low blow, like something like I don't even know what it'd be.
Like just when I'm getting locked in, like just when I'm starting to focus.
Yeah.
He'd do something,
Yeah.
and then I'd be like, I don't know, like a little, like all over the place, and then I'd get locked in, and then he'd do something.
Yeah.
And not even do something, but just say something, like say,
I want to say too was when Richie, I think like or it was something like Richie started lifting with Jordan. Like at first I would actually kind of get a little mad. Like I texted Richie like, hey, you want to go to crunch? And he's like, no, I can't. And I would send him like convincing, like, dude, why? Like, why can't you go?
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, he's like, I'm lifting with I'm lifting with Jordan today, and I don't know if I knew who Jordan was.
I don't think.
Or that group. So I was like getting like a little pissed at him, and I'm like, oh, so like we're not gym bros anymore, like
yeah, you did. I
like
forgot about that.
Something like that.
I mean, I don't think it happened. Like it probably only happened like a couple times.
Yeah,
but I remember and it was like this big thing, and I'm like, dude, like we're still gym bros, but like I told him I was gonna lift with him. Like I'm not just gonna cancel on the guy.
Yeah, and like at that moment, I was probably like in my head, like, dude, I thought I was like a good coach. Like I thought I was teaching Richie, like how to lift, and I thought he was teaching him the proper form. And probably in Richie's mind, like, I gotta get the hell away from Vinny. I have to say this in the nicest way. Like, I can't lift with you for now. Focus on yourself. Learn how to lift. And obviously, he never said that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if he said that, that would have been a whole.
If I said that, you would have took that so personal.
I would have probably. Yeah, because I didn't know who Jordan was.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we have a good relationship now, but
yeah, that was interesting.
I don't know.
And it was because then eventually we lifted. A couple of years after we originally lifted, and it was a little bit like for me because I had this good form and everything. So I'm like,
this was at Babs, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, actually, maybe it was at your gym.
Oh, what was? We forgot about the world story. Remember the world story? So I'll give you guys...
About with me, right?
Yes.
Wait, no, we'll get into this, right?
Okay.
So Vin comes back. I think this is maybe it's our senior year, right?
Yeah,
maybe the summertime.
It was definitely not college.
It's in the summertime, right? And it's he knows Jordan, he knows Josh, and it's like Vin was like, let's just all get a lifted together. The four of us. I don't know if Josh ended up coming. I think it was just the three of us, me, you, and Jordan. And we're like, okay, cool. Like, what gym do you want to go to? And he's like, well, we'll go to his gym. So we went there, and it was a problem, right? Of course, there's always a kink in the chain, and you had to have.
This wasn't with Jordan.
This wasn't. You're right. This was just me.
It was just me and you.
This was me and you. And at this time, it's like we haven't lifted in a while. So I'm like, dude, like I hope, like he's evolved like I've evolved because I didn't know, right? But whatever. I'm like, I gotta go with him. It's been so long. So we go, and the guy's like, yeah, you need parental consent. And I think at this time I was 17, not 18.
So he couldn't just.
So maybe it wasn't in the summer. Maybe it was actually during the end of the school year. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, cool. Like, what do I need? Like, you want me to just call my mom up? And he's like, I need a note.
Yeah, like
I need a note. And I'm like, well, what does it need to say? And the guy's like, well, I need it to say that you can work out here. If you get injured, it's not on us.
It's basically a waiver.
Yeah, like a waiver. And I'm like, okay, that's not too.
It's not like an official.
That's a problem. But now keep in mind, Vin's gym I think it's in like Wantagh.
It's in Wantagh, yeah.
Something, and didn't feel like driving all the way there and back just to get a note, right? So I'm like, you know what? Let's make a note.
Yeah.
And so I decided we needed a pencil, which I had.
I had sticky note. I don't know how.
And I needed paper. Now, we're looking around. We're looking for a piece of paper.
In my car.
In his car, and we're looking, and we see like this Post-it note that's been like thrown around, like this beat up Post-it note. So we're like, all right, it's something. We didn't even have like a clipboard. So I'm like trying to. I'm like, Finn, like, do you have good handwriting? And he's like, no.
Nope.
So I'm like, let me write it, and I say, hi, this is Rich's mom. Like I give him permission, and then I say from, and then I fake my mother's signature.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was funny because it was so awful. It was so obvious that I did it. And also, this only happened like a couple minutes, like prior to when we went in. So like we came out, and within a couple minutes, I got this note, and I go back in.
I went to the bathroom to not make things suspicious.
Yeah, because we were worried that Vin was gonna like smile or like start laughing.
Well, also I feel like I already signed in. Like I already put my card to the scanner. And then I went out. So I was just technically waiting for you.
Yeah, but I think you did that because.
Yeah. I did.
You did it
I
because
scanned
you
it.
didn't want to smile. I think you were worried that you were gonna start laughing.
I scanned it, went into the bathroom, just looked in the mirror.
Because I don't know if you can tell based on the prior footage, but sometimes we make each other laugh, right?
Very easily.
Or smile. So he went to the bathroom, and the guy comes over, and I said it like I was super confident. I'm like,
here's my note.
I'm like, here's my note, and the guy looks at me, rips it, and puts it in the trash, and he says, "Don't come back here." And I'm like, Vin, come out of the bathroom.
Don't come back here until your mom actually signs.
Yeah. And Vin comes out, and he's like, "So how'd it go?" I'm like,
"We gotta leave."
Yeah, I'm like, and it didn't go well. And then we ended up going out for
I went to Qdoba.
Qdoba, yeah.
I have a question for you. Now, I know, obviously, you're cutting and all of this, but if you had to rank Shahs, Chipotle, and Qdoba, what are your 3 rankings? Like, what is your 1, 2, 3, like, number 1, 2, 3? Like, I love this place, and it's very good, and then, probably my 3rd option if I had to, like, choose a place to go get some food.
Well, that's really interesting. So, I mean, Shahs is definitely an outlier because it's not Mexican.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely in a little bit of a different category. Now, when you say ranking it just overall, or are you talking taste-wise?
I'm talking like taste, quality, portions of, food. Like, do they like kind of screw you over? Stuff like that.
Okay, I'm gonna make it real simple. Chipotle.
Chipotle 1?
Shahs.
Okay.
Qdoba. I think, and you know what, this is going to be a ballsy statement, but I think Qdoba is overrated. I think their food is good, but I wouldn't say it's great. I think Chipotle I don't know, I think it's a little fresher. It just gives me more of a freshness vibe, but it's also a little more expensive. And I think Shahs the food tastes great.
I think the price is great.
And I think the price, it's okay, $10 for a platter. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's whatever. The thing about Shahs that makes it, I would actually put Shahs above Chipotle, but the reason it's not is for a couple reasons. 1, it's a little spicy, and 2, it doesn't get along with my stomach very well.
Okay.
That's why.
Yeah, I think my rankings, I think they're a little different.
Yeah.
I feel like the recent, I think I've had, out of those 3, I probably had Shahs the most, then Qdoba, then Chipotle. Like, in terms of times I've had it recently.
Yeah.
Haven't had Chipotle that much, really. It's been mainly Qdoba and Shahs. At number 1, I feel like I gotta go. I figure I gotta go with Shahs.
Really?
I really think like that's been a staple for me.
Yeah.
I gotta go with Qdoba at 2. I really do. I think what they're starting to build, I feel like a lot of people are really getting on the Qdoba train. And I'm not saying Chipotle is, it is at 3, but I'm not saying it's far off from Qdoba. Just some recent stuff that has happened there. Like, one time I went there at Wilkes, no chicken or steak. So I had to get carnitas, which it didn't taste bad, but like, I mean, come on, I'm gonna want chicken, and especially double chicken, and you don't have that, or you don't got steak.
That's pretty bad, I'm gonna be honest.
And I'm like, how long's the wait for chicken? They're like, 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, wow, just give me the carnitas. So that kind of, also, another thing I do like about Qdoba?
Hit me.
Is I gotta just give them my student ID and get a free drink.
That's what I mean, yeah. That's cool.
That's
cool.
And even one time I didn't have mine, and he's like, just what school do you go to? I'm like, I go to Wilkes. And they're like, all right, here's a free drink. So I think that is definitely something they don't give at Chipotle. Shahs, it's just like, for me, like, just the white sauce and everything how it mixes.
So
it is so freaking good. It also, like...
Also bloats me really hard.
I don't really get too much bloating from that, but...
I think because of the high sodium content.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how much sodium is in that white sauce alone, but...
And the chicken, that's...
Oh, yeah, that thing's probably...
Even the rice.
Yeah, probably, but I mean, it tastes freaking good.
It does!
But...
Another thing I don't like about Shahs, and I don't know how you're going to take this, but I feel like Shahs is addictive.
Oh, Well,
Like it's like it's actually addictive.
I can get behind that.
Like I actually get cravings for Shahs.
I might go there later.
And because of it, really, and because of that, I don't want to go there. Like I'll give you an example. Like, there's certain foods where I enjoy them, but I don't crave them. But I enjoy them.
Yeah.
And I just don't like that about Shahs, where it's I like it too much, and that bothers me. And I feel like the more I eat it, the more I'm gonna crave it. See, it's once you give into it, it goes on a spiral, right? So that's my ranking. I have to say our rankings are very different. I mean, they're almost opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very interesting. And what's funny is, because I don't even go to Chipotle. I've only had Chipotle like 1 or 2 times. But I don't really go out to eat that much. Like, even with Mexican places, I don't really go out that often. So whenever I do have it, it's only because I don't want to say I'm forced there, but I kind of am, right? Because Jordan and Josh go there all the time, and I'm not gonna be like, no, like I'm not going. So I'm like, yeah, I'll come with you guys, and I go with them, and whatever, maybe I get something. But that's the only reason I would go to Qdoba. I'd never go there on my own. Go out of my way to go there.
Now my question is for you: say you go to work out with those 3, so you got with Josh and Jordan, and now that you're cutting, and they want to go to like Qdoba, because I know they've actually not been a fan of Shahs anymore.
Yeah, which
I
crazy, but
nuts how that changed. But they asked Richie, we're going to Qdoba after chest day at Bev's.
Yeah.
Are you saying no? Because you're obviously so committed to your cut.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny you say, because that happened yesterday. No joke. They were like, hey, like, are we gonna go to Qdoba? And I'm like, dude, it's prep. Like, I'm not going to Qdoba.
That's a committed man.
And but you know what's funny though? If they wanted to go and they get something, I would go with them. I'm just not getting anything, but I would go with them. I mean, it's it's hanging out with the boys. Why not?
True.
But no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm thinking about something that they have that's like easy to track, but I know on the app that I use for tracking, it says like 1 serving, but then again, like you don't know actually how much that weighs.
It's approximately, right? So if let's say you get a bowl,
it's
probably around what it says it is. It might be 100 calories more or less, depending on the person.
When it comes to cutting.
It's not that well.
In terms of cutting, I mean, if you only eat 3,100 and then you bump it up to 33, 3,400.
It's a big difference.
Could definitely.
But I just I like
depends how strict you are on the cut.
Huh?
Depends how strict you are on the cut. Like if you're at 150 calories more, it's not like it's gonna kill me, right?
That's why for me it's just easier when I'm cutting to just eat the same thing every day, just because it's
like a dog.
Yeah, but it's just simple. Like I don't have to think about what I'm eating. I know what I'm eating.
Exactly.
There's no thought, and I mean I feel like the only reason I change what I'm eating is if my digestive system was just like something was wrong.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, okay, maybe I should just throw something in there just to change it. But I mean, so far it's been good. It's been good, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for it. So
I'm excited to see what you look like when you're cut in the summer when we do go to Bev's again.
Yeah. I think you'll be. I mean,
I feel like you're already relatively lean, but if you take it a step further,
there's levels to
there's levels to leanness.
There's levels. I mean, it's not just leanness though. I'm not really, because I don't think I'm gonna have a problem getting lean. I mean, I'm already a lean guy. It's really the conditioning, right? We're having, specifically the midsection having. I mean,
just like a
almost like a piece of art. You can really the cuts.
Yeah.
The deep cuts. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I mean, are you looking to get like single digit body fat, or do you think that's like really low?
High single digit. Yeah. I mean,
like
ideally,
9.8.
Yeah. I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think any leaner than that would be unhealthy.
It's hard to just get up.
Yeah.
You hear all those bodybuilders and they say like they're 5-6%. It's hard to get up and stuff like that.
But even then, a lot of times they're very lean, but sometimes their conditioning's off.
True.
And because of that, they don't look right.
Yeah.
So you have to be super careful with. That's why when you're cutting, you have to you really have to take your time with it. A lot of people want to rush. That's why you look on the video, you have 5 minutes to get a six-pack. That's just not how it works.
No, because it's mainly what you're putting in.
It is. The truth is, you could. I mean, obviously, you do need abdominal muscles to have the look, but at the same time, you don't need to be training abs as much as you think. It's really just more what you're eating, how lean you are.
I mean, I'm gonna be totally honest. I don't train abs very much.
I don't think it really matters. Like, I don't train abs.
Yeah.
I've only started training abs since prep. Like, now that prep started, I want to start training abs, and not like a lot, but just one exercise, 4 sets. Like, I'll just do
like hanging leg raises, or like
exactly
just like a plane.
Hanging leg raises. I'll do 4 sets till failure, and then I'll drop it, and I'll just do some.
Do you put like weight? Like, do you have like a dumbbell in between your feet? No.
Leg raises it's enough resistance. For me. Especially now that my legs have gotten bigger, so it's a little bit, makes it a little harder. Take that, but
I mean, speaking of legs, we gotta get into my ACL. We got into the
we really lost track.
Yeah, I mean, we really just started talking about food and bulking and cutting.
Let's bring it back, right? So, just to give a little background, right? Just so the viewers can get an image in their mind. So it's senior year. Finn's getting ready for the season. He's doing his thing, and he's not doing as well as he would want to be doing in the depth chart. It was pretty much just like they kind of ranked the players based on position. And now Vin is kind of, he's looking for vengeance, and he wants to get up there. He's grinding. It's senior night. Yeah. They put him in the game the whole time pretty much, and he's playing, and then it happens, right? So you want to go into a little bit of detail of what specifically happened?
Yeah, so senior day was going really well. I mean, pictures with family, parents, all that.
Yeah.
Getting my name introduced,
Yeah, of course, the parents come, they always get over to them, and they say hi.
All of that.
Get a couple pictures.
Yeah, game started off going well. I mean, we were killing the team that were playing East Meadow. Yeah. But the game was going really well. I was having a good game. Had a few ground balls, some steals, from the goalie.
Yep.
All that good stuff about having a good game. And then we were up 21-0. So it got to a point where coach was like, "All right, we're going to allow seniors to kind of get their way, score some more goals." And there was 4 minutes left, and I asked one of the junior polls, like, "Hey, you guys want to go in?" And they're like, "Vin, it's your day. It's your day. It's not our day. So go out there and have some fun." I'm like, "All right, I totally appreciate that." Literally, next shift, there's 4 minutes left in this game. 4 minutes left in the game. I got a pass from the goalie. Gonna have to break it out. I beat one guy who's not in good shape at all. Big, bulky, wide guy.
Maybe a little on the side.
Yeah. And I do a spin move that I've been practicing in practice every practice. So it wasn't like this was my first spin move in a few games or a few practices. Like I do this all the time, and my left cleat gets a little bit too much turf, and I do a spin move. I collapse and I can't get up. I feel a pop in my knee, and I'm not like in like excruciating pain, but it's starting to really build up. Like, I tore my ACL. And that wasn't the only thing I did. Getting back the results from the doctor, I tore my ACL, MCL sprain, meniscus tear that they were not able to repair. They had to make a new ACL with the patella tendon. Yeah. And shredded cartilage. So I did that all. And even to this day, I still have some scar tissue that, needs to,
Yeah, I mean, you remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember when Vin had the shorts, right? You saw that scar in his knee.
Yeah.
But now for those of you who don't really know a lot about injuries, right? I'm an exercise science major, and that's a really bad injury, right? Yeah. And when he told me about it, right, I knew it was really bad, and I knew Vin obviously knew it was bad as well, but I don't want to scare him, right? Because in my eyes, right, like an ACL tear is, I think, a horrible injury. I think it's one of the worst in sports. It is, and not even for the amount of recovery it takes to fully heal from it. I think is it's just hard, and it's one of those injuries where if you don't recover it properly, like your career could be over.
Yeah.
Right. And then on top of it, the MCL. Then the cartilage. Then the meniscus. I mean, those are all
Major parts
of the knee. Like if any one of those parts is, it's almost like a clock. You know, if any one of those parts is a little bit out of line, it could screw up everything. Especially an athlete who, you know, especially with Vin, where, you know, it's not like he's, you know, playing,
What, like football?
No, football would be awful for that. I'm thinking like,
I'm trying to figure out.
it's not like he's playing,
Well, like a sport that doesn't have much running.
I was gonna say golf, but you play golf. Yeah, sport doesn't have much running.
Alright. I mean,
it's not like you're.
I can't really think of a sport like that.
You're playing frisbee or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what type of frisbee you're playing.
Yeah, true. Ultimate frisbee can get pretty, actually.
Especially in gym class.
Oh, yeah,
look
get
out.
competitive. No, you're right. You're
Look
right.
out.
Like, let me think of a sport. Now I'm getting a little angry now.
Yeah, I can't.
Every sport has running. Most sports.
Yeah, it's some sort of movement that, you know, lateral movement.
It's not like you're playing archery, right?
Yeah.
So the point is,
Definitely.
lacrosse, hockey, your knees are so. I mean, everything's important,
It's all
right?
planting
But you're
and
putting
playing.
so much pressure on that knee, and you know, especially with lacrosse, so much cutting, which is awful for the ACL.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally the ACL's function, is to help you when you cut, which is probably why you tore it, because you tore it while you were cutting. But
I mean, I was putting all my weight on my knee.
yeah, and you know, Vin, you know, he's a big boy, big, you know, big.
What are you trying to get here?
Big bison, right? So, so I mean,
Big bison Vin.
big bison Vin.
More like the big gorilla.
Oh,
Hockey man. All right, let me get you on the gorilla part.
wait, no, dude, you gotta finish the ACL story.
I guess. I mean,
So let's finish it out. So he gets surgery a week later.
May 4th.
He's all May 4th, which is not, you know, over a year. Pretty crazy. Gets it, whatever. He gets the surgery, and you know, for Vin, you know, it's very, you know, at this point, you know, Vin is the big man on campus, right? I mean, he's really, you know, he's pushing into people. He's saying this and that. You know,
Onward.
I'll beat this one up. I'll beat this one up.
Whoa.
Not in a, you know, not maybe like literally, but then again, if they piss
I would
you
just
off,
whisper it to Rick.
yeah, he would whisper like, yeah, see this guy, take him in a
This
fight.
guy's got nothing.
He's got nothing.
He's got nothing.
I'd smash him into the locker, but
Did that to you a lot.
he did. But he also got it back, right? I mean, again, that's another story.
Yeah, it's kind of like the F around and find out, right?
Yeah. And when Vin got, you know, in his brace, you know, it was a little bit. I think for him it was like.
People are like, damn.
I think you felt a little bit. Did you feel a little bit defenseless in a way? Like, did you feel like?
I wasn't even thinking about that, honestly.
Really?
For me, when I tore my ACL, I guess one of the main things that I was thinking about was, honestly, I couldn't golf.
Yeah.
I couldn't play the rest of my season. And it'd be a long recovery that actually flew by. Because I'm pretty much almost 100%, I'd say.
Yeah.
Did some hip work today at the gym.
Yeah, I saw you. You texted me about that.
I did text you that.
Which I kind of thought was funny. Like hip work? Like what?
Oh, my hips are not there yet.
Really?
'Cause, I mean, there's your legs, your quad, you know, your
True.
core. You gotta work on your hips too, especially for movement when you're playing footwork.
Yeah.
You know, but that's pretty much the ACL story.
I want to ask you though, mentally, how was it going through that? Like, was it? Like, what was the?
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. In terms of mental aspect, it really takes a toll on you. There's a lot of things that happen. I would definitely say I lost the sleep. I definitely lost a lot of sleep.
You were stressed, right?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't really move around, really.
What was your biggest fear?
I feel like even today, part of the biggest fear today is just having to go through that again from the right knee. So, like, if I
Really?
I mean, I guess I would kind of know what I'm getting into then.
Do you ever? I don't mean to like
Like,
say this, but like, do you ever feel that you'll re-tear that same knee?
no. If
That
anything,
doesn't concern
I
you?
would fear of re-tearing this knee
You
because
mean?
my left
Yeah.
ACL is now much stronger than it's ever been. But yeah, in terms of the mental aspect, I couldn't do my podcast. I couldn't lift really. I mean, I couldn't lift for until I could really like stand up, and all I was doing was dumbbell curls, incline curls, maybe I was maybe doing some shoulder press because I had this bench in my house that I was doing, so I wasn't really doing much of that. But another thing was the doctors wanted you to get up, right? They wanted you to walk around and attempt to do that, which was definitely difficult because it's a lot harder from a mental aspect to take that first step.
Yeah.
And
literally take that first step.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. It was really hard to take that that step and do it consistently and keep your balance too. Because I mean, even at college, there were times where sometimes my knee would just give out and I would just fall down. Late at night at sleep.
Finn, you never told me about that.
Oh yeah, I try to keep that not too scared.
You would just fall down?
Oh I mean because my knee would just give out, but.
And what's the story with that? Why did that happen?
Probably just because I had maybe like a PT session or something that just really worked the quad and really worked everything.
And then when you fell down, what did you do? Did you scream or you just
no? It doesn't hurt. It's just you fall down basically because
And then what did you do? You just got up and kept going?
Well, it was dark. It was dark in the room.
So
I just got up basically and just because I was going to the bathroom.
Oh, okay, got it.
So it wasn't like something.
Now, was your roommate in there?
Yeah.
And did he do anything?
He was knocked out, so I mean.
Yeah.
Nothing really to worry about that, but
interesting.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I never got to ask you how's college?
Yeah. College was good.
First year, right?
First year.
You're a freshman?
Yeah, freshman.
We're in the same grade, but
freshman.
Yeah.
I learned
right.
a lot.
You were gone away by yourself, right?
Yeah, 4 hours away.
Wilkes against I guess Vin against the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, Wilkes had to deal with the gorilla, but we'll get into that story with the gorilla. But yeah, first year went. I learned a lot. I'd say.
Yeah. Like what?
I don't know, just school.
Whatever. Yeah.
School, grades, all that type of stuff. What to learn for next year.
Yeah. What's your major?
Sports management, communications. The overall goal for my dream really is to become a sports play-by-play broadcaster. So that's the goal.
So of course I had to bring him on my podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean I run my own podcast too.
Yep, shout out to
Inside the Booth podcast.
Yes.
We talk with the New York Rangers, the New York Yankees, and the New York Giants. Of course, New York Rangers getting it done against the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, they're doing good. So if you're into sports,
definitely tune in.
Go check out his podcast.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of getting back to college.
Yeah.
I learned a lot, made a lot of friends. I think that's really the main thing that I came out of this was because, I mean, the thing is with college, right, there is a lot of stress to it, right? You have all those exams, all that pile of work, professors not being the professors that you kind of like. But I think the good thing, too, about playing a sport, you should make a lot of friends quick, right?
Yeah.
You get to meet all the freshmen, all the seniors that are leaving. But I thought the group gelled well. I definitely think I've made a group that I can consistently hang out with. We're all rooming in the same building next year.
Do you room with all the lacrosse kids?
Some people were scattered around for freshman year. So some people were in Evans Hall, some people were in Slocum, some people were in Roth, that was next to Evans Hall. So all freshman dorms, but so
where were you?
I was in Evans.
Was that good? You were happy about that?
Yeah, it was fine. No real issues except we had a bit of a mice issue. So I guess that's a major issue. And I'm not gonna lie, I did kill four of them.
You did?
Yeah.
With your hands, or with a knife, or what did you? Or like a trap?
I killed 3 with a gel gun and 1 with a bat. Yeah, and 1 with my foot. So I guess that's actually 5 technically, if you do the math. But
I don't know. I could picture you late at night and you just turn the lights on. And there's just all these mice, and then you get all angry and you just start stomping. And,
yeah, I mean, if I see one, he's gonna have to know.
Have you ever had woke up in your bed and there was one next to you?
Now I'm frightened. I hope that never happens. But
it'd be cool if the mouse was sleeping as well.
then it would be.
That'd be scary.
That would be so. Because those things are tiny. Like if you
Are they?
like they're not that like they're like that big. I mean like.
I think they'd be bigger.
I found a big one in my friend's baseball backpack. I actually have that video.
Oh, really?
I have a
Maybe
video.
send it to me.
Yeah.
Shoot. Maybe get it on the.
There's a lot of cursing in it. So,
Okay, maybe not. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
so-
maybe we don't show.
but-
But PG, kind of.
Gotta get into
Not
the
really.
gorilla. Gotta get into the gorilla to kind of wrap it up. But
Yeah, the
this
gorilla.
next segment. So
Story of the gorilla, right? So as you know, there's many animals in the animal kingdom, right? You have the lion, the sheep, the bear, the fox. But then there's the gorilla. Now, why is Vin the gorilla? That's a great question. I always thought he just came up with that name for himself because he just, thought he was, big and whatnot. But there is a backstory. Vin, would you like to tell them this backstory?
yeah, so this was senior year of ice hockey. Not travel. I stopped traveling a while ago.
Okay.
So senior year
Why did you stop traveling?
money just wasn't really my thing anymore.
Yeah.
Too much traveling.
Makes
yeah.
sense. It's in the name, right?
Yes. Senior year of ice hockey. One thing, I didn't get the much minutes, but it was because of the role I had. So my role was basically just to hit people into the boards and be a pest.
So you were an enforcer.
I was exactly. I was the enforcer of the squad.
Sick.
I would probably get like 5 minutes, 8 minutes a night. Maybe like, in terms of time, it's probably like 4 to 7 shifts a night, which, to be honest, is not very much. But I did complain a little bit about playing time, but it wasn't like, okay, because I kind of figured out what my role was. It wasn't to score 20 goals in a year, be the guy that needs to be relied on to score a big time goal. So at first I thought people were just gonna come stone cold because when I scored my first goal of the year, it was like the 3rd game in. So like I was like, dude, maybe I could just become a goal scorer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like the particularly nicest shot. It was just a low shot that found the corner.
Yeah.
And I didn't celebrate. So I didn't like do like some like celebrate, jump on the glass, like anything specific. So then in our end of the first period or whatever, it's like someone mentioned like Stone Cold Vin with his goal, and like I was like, yeah. And then as the season got on, the hits were coming. Like these hits that I had, I have some videos of it. They were coming. Like these things were massive hits. Like. So
And now at this time you're lifting. Right?
Yeah, 1,000%. Like lifting was a main staple of the day, and
Yes.
I was just constantly pumping iron and playing hockey. And
Yeah.
so really, the way the gorilla happened was it was actually very late in the year. Like this was probably one of our last games of the year,
Okay.
and I scored a goal right in front of the net. Crowd already goes erupt. Like the crowd erupts. Like the speakers, you could feel it. Like the
Really?
speakers, like when you like blast volume and the speakers like almost like die out because how loud it got. It got so loud. It felt like a playoff game on the video of the live stream. And then as I'm heading to the bench, I was just like, it was like some crazy thing.
Did you plan on doing that, or was it just?
No, I don't know what it was. It was just initial reaction.
Really?
So I just did it. Because people were starting to see my build, because I was starting to post a little bit of my gym content. Like, this guy started turning to a gorilla. He's starting to put on weight and, put on strength. And so I did that. And then after the end of the game, coach is like telling everyone, like, good game, but hey, Vin, what was that? And he's like, and I was like, what do you mean? What was? He's like, that celebration. I was like, the gorilla. He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's my name. So then I got the game hat. I got the game.
That I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember the Insta post, and I'm like, of course, I like that up.
Yeah, I was. I definitely put it. I think I put it on my story. But
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really post too much on Instagram.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll post it and soon, just like a light post.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'd love to see.
Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, that's pretty much how the gorilla evolved, and it's still the name to this day. I mean, it's people either call me Coach Vin, Gorilla Vin, just Vin.
Or just the gorilla.
My aunt calls me Vincenzo. Like,
Really? Oh. Um,
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, that's pretty much my story. Little baby Vin to gorilla Vin.
Oh, man, it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it's been quite a pod, quite a video. I mean, don't forget to definitely check out my sports pod. Don't forget to check out his channel that he's trying to build. And I guess my final question for you is: did I have any influence on you making a podcast? Because you probably saw my content a bit. It wasn't particularly your interest, in sports. I was just wondering.
Well, that's a very interesting question.
Kind of to wrap it up. You can totally honest.
Yeah.
Totally honest.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I would say that, like you said, right? Like you do sports.
Yeah.
And I envision my podcast very different. Where you usually do your podcast by yourself.
Yeah.
But I want to do it and bring people on. So maybe like the broad idea of a podcast, yes. But what you do versus what I do,
Much different.
Much different.
Yeah.
I envision it very differently.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know when that idea necessarily came to me. I mean, obviously it was after you started your podcast, but I always thought your podcast was very cool. Listen, like I said, I'm not super into sports, so it's not like I'm watching like every episode. But it's cool to see you on there, like talking.
Yeah. I think the funny part was what I used to do on the Snapchat stories. Like I would dress up like a button-down tie, and like.
Did you really?
It was only like a 60-second video because of what Snapchat, like their videos provided.
Yes.
I used to call it like the 60-second pod.
Did you really?
Yeah. So cause
you know what? I think I remember that.
Yeah. So like I would have like a white. Usually it was always the white button-down, and then like whatever color tie it was. Maybe it was like a red, purple, or like a blue tie. But like I would record it like anywhere, like something to my room. And I've started to learn, like, for content creation, like, lighting kind of has to be better. And a lot of stuff has to, because you have to invest a decent amount of money to be a YouTuber. And
right now, it's not that much invested in this. But
yeah, but I think eventually, I think you're still doing a good job. Like, you don't necessarily need the mics and all the stuff.
I'm sure it
probably helps a bit, but you're still improving. We have like 4 episodes on the channel now.
I think this is number 4.
Yeah, this is number 4. So
yeah.
I have.
How many do you have? I have like 80, right?
I want to say, in terms of videos, like I know I have YouTube Shorts still.
Yeah.
I want to say I've recorded 115 episodes.
That's nuts.
And then like the other ones are like shorts.
Do you do one every week?
I try to, and for me. I try to really, see what's going on with the teams, right? With the Yankees or the Giants. Rangers are in the playoffs.
So you kind of base it off that, right?
Yeah. So right now we're really basing it off the New York Rangers right now.
That makes sense.
Because of playoffs, and we'll probably make a Yankee video eventually. The Giants kind of cool down because we're not in football season.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was fun. I do appreciate you having me on.
Man.
And I thought. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to, come on again. Whether it's just us two, maybe a few other guests.
We'll see. Maybe we'll mix and match, huh?
But yeah, maybe a sneak peek. But
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's to come in the future.
Yeah.
Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the 6 to the 7 to 8. Santoro shuffle, baby. Woo, woo.